tried hard, but where did we so long? I hope we could, but I won't start over again. Midday street, more outside, smelling disperse in the air. Nobody stops to sit and wait. Your right seems so innocent. Everything makes sense to you. They didn't do me. Little compromise for the bad. Believe in your words. Way of life, way of life. I heard you say we were on the same street. Way of life, way of my Midday street, more outside, smelling disperse in the air. Nobody stops to sit and wait. Your right seems so innocent. Everything makes sense to you. They didn't do me. Little compromise for the bad. Believe in your words. Way of life, way of life. I heard you say we were on the same street. Way of life, way of my Midday street, more outside, smelling disperse in the air.
Hello. I after hold on, wait. After yesterday, well first off, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome back to the stream. We're gonna continue with more the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Hold on, I need to actually make that new. Wait. Yeah, that's good. Oh my gosh, I hope that wasn't allowed to do for you as it was for me, but yeah, yep. So we left off yesterday. We were talking about. Hold on. That'll help me remember. Yes, we were talking to Mr. Prosecutor Man, Lord Van Zeeks, because he had been attacked the day prior by some assailants. So we're checking up on him, and then we come to learn that he has we asked to see what he's doing. We did learn a little bit about him, and then we found out that he actually has apprentice right here who seems to be writing something. They said it was writing a court report about what happened. Very strange individual, this mystery man. Wears a mask per orders of Lord Strongheart. But yes, our ban is over from the Lord Strongheart. Also let us practice law again, so we're back in action. So now we're gonna go to the prison to talk to our client whose trial is tomorrow. Oh, there's also another thing I want to bring. So yesterday we finished the second case, and at the end we found the stash of a convict that died in prison, and it looked to be some sort of collar of some sort with blood on it. At the time I was like, oh, what this is related to, but after literally maybe as soon as the stream ended, I thought of it like, oh, wait a minute, the Hound of the Baskervilles, the last case in the fifth game. Well, the name of the last case in the fifth game. I don't Well, seemingly, who knows if it has anything to do with the actual story, but yeah, the Hound of the Baskervilles, because the dog collar had a B, but it looked like it could almost be a belt. So it must be for some sort of gargantuan dog of some sorts. So it's related. So yeah, I just want to get that off my chest. I guess people were wondering, like, oh, how did you not notice that? The warden said cell 11. That's this one. Oh wait, am I? Okay. Oh nope, not that. Nope. Oh, there's someone curled up in a ball in the back corner. Look, what's his name again? Professor Albert Hairbrain, was it? Excuse me, Professor Hairbrain. Hmm? Who are you? I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a defense lawyer. A lawyer? Ah, was it something I said? A lawyer, you say? Would you be here about the experiment? Are you going to defend my hypothesis? Your hypothesis? Sorry, I don't. Yesterday's demonstration. The magnificent demonstration was, it was an out and out success by anyone's calculations. But despite that, no one listens. No lawyer believes in the science. When it's explained, they all leave at high velocity. He looks normal. Now is probably not a good time to mention that your zeal made my concentration leave for a while too. You mentioned the demonstration yesterday. The papers have called it a spectacular failure. After all, a man died in the explosion, didn't he? Yes, you could interpret the results that way if you really wanted to. Well, I suppose in the strictest sense, the experiment was a failure, but at the same time, it was a great success. You've lost me. I saw it with my own eyes, right there in front of me. Mr. Aspen was spontaneously disassembled. Until then, everything was going exactly as my calculations had predicted. At that point, he should have been beamed to the Crystal Tower by instantaneous kinesis. However, the machine exploded and Mr. Aspen in fact perished. Perished? Yes. I can't deny that part of the experience. That part of the experiment was a failure. So what you're really saying is the large explosion that killed Mr. Aspen was an accident, correct? But the big ones had you arrested on suspicion of murder. Yeah. Why do you? I was responsible for a man's death. That is immutable. That is the immutable truth here. And for that, I wish to be punished at once. But murder? Never in a million years. It was an accident. Simply accident. So wait. Okay, so he's not any delusion like, oh no, it's not my fault. Like, nope, I was responsible for him dying, but I didn't mean for him to die. Simply an accident. I see. Early and I were talking to this morning, you know? He said the situation would change completely depending on whether it was treated as an accident or a murder. How exactly? Well, if it really was an accident, then the professor's machine would be kept in protective custody. On what grounds? Ah, yes, it's newly established here in Britain. The Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. This dispensation act, that one passed me by. But if the case is treated as murder, then they'll say my machine was a murder weapon, and they'll be able to prove it, pour over it as much as they like. Oh, I get it. So, oh, I see. So if it's an accident, that means if they won't be able to examine the machine at all. If they examine it in detail, they'll find out how it's made, and then they'll be able to copy my idea. My precious hypothesis will be stolen. The machine must be protected from that at all costs. That's why it's imperative this whole incident is shown to have been an accident in tomorrow's trial. Ah, I see now. So, in short, there was a terrible accident at the Great Exhibition Showground yesterday. Yes. Or rather, no. The devil is in the details. Strictly speaking, there was a terrible explosion. Sounds the same to me. Me too. You were demonstrating super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, weren't you? How fast? Humans, like all matter, are made up of particles that are held together by electrical bonds. So it must be possible using a sufficiently high voltage to break those bonds and beam the particles through space. That's it in a nutshell. That's my idea, you see? That's my amazing hypothesis. Gosh, that's unimaginably high level science. Oh, but dare to imagine it. Dare to dream of such incredible technology. Just think, one moment I could be here in the cell, and the next, I could be at the Great Exhibition again. Well, yes, that would be incredible. And the next, in the mere blink of an eye, I could be at a great Parisian theater, I say. The possibilities are endless. The whole of our vast planet would be within reach. So no more hiding in wardrobes on rocky seas for 50 days? I don't really see it like that. What do you mean, Iris? Well, if you could travel anywhere in the world instantly, and if the planet wouldn't really seem so vast anymore, would it? I think it would feel like it had shrunk. My word, that's exactly right. What are the implications? What does this mean? Oops, that's got Professor Bunnybrain really worried about by the look of it. Clearly, this is yet another case of just because you can doesn't mean you should, I suppose. Yeah, well, scientists are really famously not concerned with that. The point is, my calculations are flawless. The science works, but without a practical demonstration, it means nothing. And that's always the fly in the ointment. Yeah, because practical demonstrations cost a lot of money that young scientists like you don't have. That's exactly it. Yes. Hurley's always complaining about it. He says the government should invest more in science. Well, anyway, I bumped into him at the right time. I met the well-known investor, Mr. Asman, the victim who died in yesterday's terrible accident. You mean? Wait, hold on. Can we get an age? How old are you? Because he's 33, so he's 30. Yeah, okay. Same age. I understand Lord Van Zieks is a friend of yours from your university days. Yes, that's right. He was studying law whilst I was studying science. What was he like back then? A good question. And assuming, gentlemanly, an all-around nice fellow, really. Sorry, I think you misheard me. I'm talking about the cold-hearted, merciless prosecutor, Barak Van Zieks. What was he like when he was at the university? Bruno, talk about a leading question, Bruno. Jeez. As I said, an unassuming and extremely pleasant gentleman. After all, he is the little darling of the Van Zieks family, with all its great aristocratic origins. I didn't realize he had quite such noble blood. Little darling. It was a bit of a shock when they came back to Britain and learned what he'd become. The Reaper the Bailey, no less. Yes, that's right. I did hear, though, that there was a very big event in his life that completely changed him after graduation. Really? What sort of event? I can't remember. I'm sorry, but I don't know anymore. I wasn't in the country at the time. I was in Germany already. Oh, yes, of course. If he's heard all about the Reaper, I really don't have the heart to tell him that Lord Van Zieks will be the prosecutor in the court tomorrow. The full name of the man who died in yesterday's accident was Mr. O.D. Asman, wasn't it? What exactly was your relationship with the man? He first visited me in my laboratory in Germany a year ago now. He said he wanted to invest in my immaculate hypothesis. I thank my lucky stars. I see. So you hadn't really known each other until then. Money for scientific research. I'm so envious. As far as I was concerned, the man was an angel. Oh, really? An archangel, even. He was prepared to fund a practical demonstration of my hypothesis for a presentation at the Great Exhibition. And if that went well, I could expect additional financial support for my research from the British government. Mr. Aston provided me with money and an exceptional engineer. He produced a machine and to my precise specifications. But then, the dreams were blown to dust in one enormous explosion. As you can see, I owed everything to Mr. Asman. I would never ever have thought of taking the man's life. Well, he seems genuine enough. I don't think he's lying. So, Professor, let me just make absolutely sure I've understood you properly. The huge explosion that occurred yesterday, that was an accident, you're saying? You had no intent to harm the victim, who was in fact the sole investor in your work. Is that correct? As correct as 2 squared is 4. I swear it. Yes, it's true that the man perished in the machine of my invention, so I know that I'm far from blameless in all this. But still, I would never use my discoveries, my inventions, to take a person's life. Not in a centillion years. I'm a man of science. It's all I know. You have to believe me. Please. Do you believe me? Do you believe in my hypothesis? Science is the pursuit of the truth, you know. I've always believed that. All my life. I'm afraid I don't know much about science or your theories, but I do believe you, and I will fight to prove your innocence with all my might. I'm a man of the law. That's all I know. You have to believe me. Please. When I went to live in Germany after I graduated, I learned something very important. Nationality, class, lineage, none of that matters. As long as you try your hardest, you can achieve anything. Thank you for that, Professor. And thank you for in advance for defending me tomorrow in court. All right, Bruno. It's time. Time to visit the Great Exhibition. Yep. Sorry? Well, that's where the incident happened, isn't it? Yes, I suppose that's true. Time to investigate at last. Is that a crossbow? Ugh. The showgrounds are a little too big for my liking. We've been walking around in dense crowds for 2 hours now, and I've felt myself swooning 3 times. Uh-oh. There are a lot of people, aren't there? I've almost been trotted on 3 times too. Oh my gosh! Be careful, won't you, Iris? Don't let go of my hand. We finally made it through the throngs though, by the look of it. Here we are, underneath the public experimentation stage where the explosion happened yesterday. Hmm? It's Sholmes. It has to be. What's that? I can hear voices from up on the stage. It sounds like an argument. What's going on? Oh! Gina! Right, I had it with you this time. I'm warning you, I'll arrest you in a minute. Oh yeah? Go on then, Inspector. Give it a shot. You ain't got no evidence and you know it. Wait, I know those sources. Ginny, you've got a cheeky little mouth on you, Lung Yeti, but as a night in the cells will teach you some manners. Just try, I dare ya, if you want that bag of chips ran down your throat. Yoo-hoo! Rexy, what are you doing up there? Oh. Ah! Ah! It's you! Here! You're here! Here you are! You! Here! Your ladyship! How are you, your ladyship? I do hope you're well, your ladyship. Does that make her 3 times a lady? I'm not well at all. It's far too busy everywhere. I wanted to ride in a balloon, but there was a 3-hour queue. Unbelievable. I'll go and have a word for you at once, your ladyship. You'll be flying high as a kite in no time once I pull some strings for you. So Bias Grex, an inspector at Scotland Yard. Until recently, he was suspended from duty, but it would appear he's back in action now. He's actually quite well known, appearing as he does in the adventures of Herlock Sholmes. And for that reason, he can't say a word wrong to the story's author, Iris. But there are limits, surely. Or there should be. Watch it, Sunshine. Sorry. What gives then? Don't tell me you're on this case. Yeah, yes, I'm acting for the defense. So we're here to investigate. Dear me, that's the situation, isn't it? Is it really that troubling? A measly 5 bob. Is that all you got? You're a lawyer, ain't you? You could stand to carry a bit more copper around in your pockets, Mr. Naruto. Oh, what? Hey, that's my last bit of spending money, that is. You can have it back, but I'll have to charge you for all the bother. 3 bob. It's Ginny. This is Gina Lestrade, a pickpocket or diver born and bred in the East End of London. And in a case that led to my own suspension 6 months ago, this is the young girl I was defending in court. Ginny. What's your problem, eh, Odo? Diver, pickpocket? What's with all the name calling? You want a bag of chips rammed down your throat and all, do ya? I thought you were proud to be a diver, Gina. You were just arguing with Inspector Gregson about it, weren't you? I assumed you've been up to your usual tricks here at the showground. That ain't no way to talk to a lady, Odo. Half a year is a long time. People can change. I'm an apprentice now. Whoa! I'm an apprentice now, learning to be a Scotland Yard detective. What? So you have to call me what everyone else does. Inspector Lestrade. Whoa! Inspector? That badge is homemade, surely. The inspector part isn't entirely accurate. No one calls her that. For what it's worth, anyway. Investigating is off the cards for all of us. What's that supposed to mean? Uh-oh. Right. Well, I'll be back up top. You hold the fort down here, all right? Right, sir. This raises a lot of questions. So what happened? How did you go from being a pickpocket to be almost a junior inspector? It was 8 months ago now that I first encountered Gina in connection with a case I was working on. At the time, she was living in the East End with a group of other orphans. She helped all of them survive by pickpocketing, but then she got embroiled in a murder. I had a lot of time to think in prison. I realized I couldn't go on like I was. The diving weren't working out. Oh, I'm so pleased to hear it, Ginny. Well done. So, you went from being a pickpocket to a detective? You got it. Good, isn't it? Inspector Lestrade. Sounds like something out of a book, eh? Talk about a sea change. And then there's Iris's old man to think about. Iris's father, you mean? Yeah, I promised her I didn't I? I said I'd get all the police forces around the world to pull out all the stops looking for him. Just a small promise then. Nothing serious. Oh, Ginny, you're so sweet. Yeah, well, yeah, well, we know the answer to that question. He was the victim in the first case in the first game. So anyway, that's how come I had to go at the test for Scotland Yard. How come I had to go at the test for Scotland Yard? Okay, only trouble is I don't read so well, do I? This is just a small problem, nothing serious. And that's when Hurley approached Grexy and asked you for help. So the inspector said he'd take full responsibility for Ginny and made her sort of an apprentice. Oh, that was very magnanimous of Inspector Gregson, and brave. Well, you know Hurley. He enjoys finding ways to make people do what he wants. The great detective likes digging for dirt, in other words. So, the long and short of it is, if you've got a question about the case, you can ask Inspector Lestrade. Right. What a blow up. Right then, Inspector. Actually, there's still a big mystery surrounding Gina, isn't there? Oh, what, Bruno? What? Well, 6 months ago, Gina was defended in a trial prosecuted by the Reaper. A trial in which she was found not guilty, and yet here she is still. Come on, you're not still on about that, are you? The Legend of the Reaper, or whatever it's called? Or you don't have to worry, Odo. If I didn't have to worry, there probably wouldn't be a whole lot of you left. It's like I told you before, isn't it? The Reaper's kind of like him upstairs, so he knows what I'm like on the inside. That ain't really done nothing wrong. Nothing wrong might be just stretching it a point. What about Mr. Natsume in Japan? He's perfectly fine, isn't he? That's true. Perhaps the Reaper is more discerning than I thought. Exactly. So I ain't worried. I'm totally fine. It was out of this world. It was. The brainy bloke pulled a bunch of levers on its machine and suddenly started billowing smoke. Then it just went pop. I ain't seen a better experiment here yet. Sorry? You mean you saw it, Ginny? With your own eyes? Because, yeah, of course. The boss is in charge of you, ain't he? For keeping everything running smooth, I mean. The boss being Inspector Rex, I suppose. Takes some idiots. So all I have to say is that I'm on duty and I can do whatever I want to. Get this, I was up in one of them flying balloons when it happened, watching it from above. No, you're so lucky, Ginny. Maybe I should join Scotland Yard too. Yeah, do it. You know how to put the boss into place already, right, Iris? You'd have no trouble at all. Donatello, when do I start? No. You can't join Scotland Yard, Iris. They don't let 10-year-olds. Well, we'll see anyway. What I don't understand is this. If the machine exploded so spectacularly, how can Professor Brenny Brain still be claiming that his experiment was a success? Oh, right. Well, you could look. Well, it was a success in a way. Because if you see it went through the tower. It was. How can it have been? Because when we got the view where we came into the area, the tower was broken. The glass of the tower was broken. Surely after the whole machine blew up, no one would call the experiment a success. Just like I said, it did sort of work. I mean, yeah, there were a load of smoke and that whopping great bang. But where do you think they found the victim's body, eh? In the crystal tower over there. What? In the tower? You can see for yourself, can't you? Up there above the scaffold. Oh, there with all the broken glass, you mean? Yeah, the cage what the victim got in to start with really did get beamed the arrow or whatever and landed all the way over there. So, you see, it did kind of work, didn't it? What? I don't believe it. I mean, I don't get the ins and out of it, but anything's possible, right? With science. Oh, I tell you what, you can have this. It's a plain old experiment. It's a plain old experiment they drew up at the yard. Are you sure? Yeah, go on. I had 3 bob off here before, so fair's fair. Yes, I didn't actually give that to you. I did I? Guess what they say, yeah. Jeez, how you robbing people as an investigator? Something Inspector Gregson said before seemed a little strange. For what it's worth, anyway. Investigating is off the cards for all of us. My guess is because it's in the Crystal Tower, we're not, nobody's allowed in, no matter what. Yes, naughty old Gregson ran off after that without explaining himself. Oh, right, that. The boss said no one's allowed to investigate that weird machine what blew up yesterday. Well, that's not fair. We're representing the defendant. In that case, could you at least tell us what you've learned from your investigations? Nah, you're not getting it. We ain't allowed to investigate either. Why? What did the boss call them again? The forensic investigation team, I think. Anyway, apart from them a lot, no one's allowed to lay a finger on the scene. Bit funny, innit? Even Scotland Yard's old detectives can't investigate. Yes, I've never heard of something like that before. I thought I could have a gander on the quiet though, but the boss caught me at it. You probably heard him giving me an earful about it before from down here, didn't you? It's not bleeding fair. I think you were giving him as much of an earful back as I remember it. Yeah, well, sometimes I think it's all the chips. Them chips what make him so stubborn. You say something to him, Odo? You say something to it, Odo. Go on, see if you can't get through to him. He's up on the platform above, is he? Where the machine exploded. We can try. Can't we, Bruno? Rexy will listen to us. Hold on. Oh, look. What's this? A ripped piece of cloth. It's not like any fabric I've ever seen before. It's very thick and stiff. It looks extremely durable. It's a canvas, I think, with some sort of rubber backing. And the edges appear to be a bit charred as well. Maybe that means it has something to do with the explosion. Let's make a note of it while Ginny's mid-yawn. For some reason, the ground is damaged in this spot. Look, it's almost as if there was a fire here or something. Yes, if you look closely, There's some scattered ash and burnt embers too. Well, I suppose there was a big explosion for just above here. People probably wouldn't be bat an eyelid at a small fire like that. Small fire like that, this would have been. I'm not sure we English are quite that laid back, Bruno. And then what? Ah, it looks as though somebody dropped something from behind the tree just here. Dropped or hid. Yeah, it's a crossbow. What's this? What is this? Some part of the machine that exploded? Maybe. It could have been fell from the platform above in the blast, perhaps. What's going on here? Oh, nothing? I think I'll hang on to this just in case. The serious contraption. Crystal Tower. Certainly an apt name. It was built to be the focal point of the expedition, and it definitely is, being so tall and with all that glass. Can't imagine a building like this ever being erected in Japan. Knock on wood. Yeah, never. Yeah, me neither. Never. There are lots of exhibits inside the tower as well, apparently. Of course, there's an observation deck, but there's also an art gallery, a zoo, and a museum. What? But I heard you have to queue for 3 hours just to get through the doors. Well, at the moment, the shattered glass from the failed experiment may well be the biggest draw. Thanks to that accident, the whole tower is shut. Suddenly, it's not the crystal tower anymore, but the crystal glass shower. Apparently, everyone's taking to the skies now to look down at the disaster area from above instead. But there's a 3-hour queue to go up in a balloon now. Londoners must be very patient people. Okay, let's go. Oh, maybe I have to. The stairs obviously lead to the stage above. We should go up there and investigate the exact spot where the experiment was being conducted. Oof, that looks. So that's it then. That's it, is it? The machine that blew up. William and Turner. Ooh, it must have been a magnificent explosion. And then I've seen my fair share. You've seen things like this before, you mean? Of course. Harley's always doing experiences that end in a bang. In fact, in his own words, explosions are the very essence of chemistry. Ah, that might explain the smell of burning that frequently comes wafting up the stairs. One time, he made something that exploded with such force it took the roof off the building. I wish you'd been there to see it, Bruno. It's hard to get too excited about that, given that I now live in the roof. Well, anyway, that's enough about that. It's time to investigate. Oh. Look, Inspector Gregson is over there. He seems to be deep in thought about something, whilst eyeing up the machine carefully. Really? He just looks confused to me. It's ripped itself apart magnificently, didn't it? Magnificently and mercilessly. So someone stands in the middle of the machine to be disassembled and then beamed through the air. Yes, beamed. No, not blasted. That's the point. Yes, that part's crucial, really. Is something like that even possible, though, Iris? Oh, Bruno, I'm just a child. How should I know? Yeah, you know more about this stuff than he does. Like, wait, but she rightfully says, wait, how am I supposed to know? I'm literally 10 years old. Bruno, just how should I know? A child when it suits you, you mean? From what I can tell, I think it's if we were to pull this lever here. Stop! Don't touch that! Ahaha, that was practically instantaneous kinesis, the way you flew over just now, Grexy. Please, your ladyship, I didn't mean to startle you, but I can't let you touch anything up here. Sorry, you can have some of my latest special blend to make up for it. Pinky, yeah. Ah, wonderful. This stuff really is wonderful. It's just like old times. This is We're representing Professor Harebrain in court tomorrow, Inspector. So we should be allowed to examine the scene. Ha! Listen, Sunshine, even I'm not allowed to touch anything up here. It's that blasted special dispensation for Scientific Experiment Act to blame. It's driving me potty. Oh, yes, that special dispensation. The professor mentioned that too. More red tape's all we need. I don't know what the government thinks is playing at sometimes. But we're allowed to just look, aren't we? Huh? Surely that's all right, isn't it, Gregsy? Of course, your ladyship. Anything you say, your ladyship. But please don't get your dainty hands dirty, will you? Don't worry. We won't dream of touching anything, would we, Bruno? He really knows how to get what he wants. Using high voltage electricity to somehow disassemble a man's body and then beam him across the crystal tower. It's an extraordinary thing to attempt, especially in public. True, it was by far the most unusual of the experiments planned for the exhibition in mind. To be honest, I'm a bit surprised it was allowed. Carrying out something so dangerous for so many spectators present, I mean. The government's doing everything it can to promote new science and technology at the moment. They're more worried about being ahead of the game than the odds about a public safety infringement. If they can be the first to develop some new technology, it makes Britain more powerful in the future, you see. Yes, I suppose that's true, in a way. The powers that be are placing a heavy emphasis on scientists' rights at the moment. What sort of rights? They're making it so that any theories of the brains have to have remained their legal property, as it were, right through the development into a practical idea and even going into production, which is the infuriating reason us coppers aren't allowed to touch this crime scene. Because the new falutin special dispensation act for Scientific Equipment Act forbids it. Ah, I see now. The only people with permission to investigate here are from some brand new department at the yard. The Forensic Investigation Team, it's called. We've been relegated to keeping guard. So they have a forensic team. So in the time we're away, they must have accepted forensic evidence as legitimate. Forensic Investigation Team. Any old fool can see that the heap of scrap metal was just sham to begin with. But just because it says scientific equipment on the paperwork, we can't do a flaming thing with it. Poor Gregsy. He's very head up, isn't he? Remind me again. What's this illegal that means we're not allowed to touch the scene here? Are you having me at it, Sunshine? It's the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. Yes, I think Hurley mentioned that recently, with a real twinkle in his eyes, as I remember. I'm sure you did, your ladyship. I'm sure you did. Especially for this great exhibition it was. All scientists have to do is present their ideas or inventions to some suits in the civil service. And if it gets rubber stamped, that's a guarantee of rights to maintain the invention's confidentiality. What does that really mean? Think about it. Think of all the world-changing new inventions on display every day at this exhibition. Although a good half of them are a load of cobblers, if you ask me, put forward by shammers like yourself. Huh? Thanks for that. Oh, I love how absurd some inventions here are. It's also fun. It might be fun to you, but a member of the force has to be present at every single demonstration. Can you imagine it? Hang science, that's what I say. Oh, I don't think so. That sounds like my dream job. You soon think otherwise after spending a day guarding all these shammers, bogus contractions. But if they were all bogus, how can anyone hope to demonstrate them? There'd be no point. Yeah, well, there is a point, sadly. Sorry? Thanks to another of our government's bright ideas, if any theory or invention is deemed to show potential, the government hands out a research grant. The scientists get funding? Exactly, and that's what they're all after. All these shammers coming from far and wide to clog up Hyde Park. And who has to keep them all safe, eh? Who has to smile politely and welcome them? Us coppers, that's who. So you can see why I say it now, can't you? Hang science, hang it. Oh, maybe I can see your point. Yeah. Apparently, Professor Harebrand lives and works in Germany now, conducting his research. That's right. Came back to Britain, especially for the Great Exhibition, as I understand it. Probably after one of the government's research grants. Actually, we learned something else about the professor earlier today. About his time at further education. It turns out he was at a university with someone we both know. Lord Van Zieks. Eh? What's that? That's news to me. But if Van Zieks man's a prosecution, then as the accused, the professor's fate is sealed? Because the Reapers will get him one way or another? But blimey, that man's beyond me. I don't know what goes on in the head of his. Talking of Van Zieks, this morning's paper ran the story of him being attacked. Read that? Oh yes, but Mr. Reaper's completely fine. Nothing to worry about. Ooh. Yes. Right. Glad to hear it. Still, the Reaper, huh? How long is that business gonna keep up, I wonder? The victim of this case, the investor, Mr. Aspen. He was another of the Reaper's victims, or so I heard. Lord Barrack Van Zieks is a top-class prosecutor, but even he can't always push the right verdict through. Sometimes justice can't win. Yes, I've heard about jurors being bribed and evidence being falsified, and that's how the notion of the Reaper of the Bailey came about, isn't it? Obviously, Scotland Yard suspected Van Zieks initially. We all assumed he was taking matters into his own hands, as if he failed to seal the deal in court. Although the man himself denies the charge, well, we've done a very thorough investigation, and the conclusion we reached, nope, is that Lord Van Zieks is in no way related to the deaths of those people outside the courtroom. There's no question in my mind. I'd stake my reputation on it, I would. But if that's true, then how do you explain it? All those defendants couldn't just have coincidentally died if nobody killed them. I know that, but I can't explain it. It's a mystery after all, isn't it? That's the whole point of the Reaper. Yeah, it's not. He's saying he doesn't say not that he doesn't believe someone's doing it, but he's saying it can't be him. Professor Harebrain mentioned something else. He said that at university, Lauren Van Zieks was a totally different person, easygoing and kind. You what? He said that it was after we both graduated that something happened to change the man. Do you have any idea what it was? No clue. Really? Look, I've got my hands full watching over this frustrating crime scene. Why don't you go and make a nuisance of yourself elsewhere, eh? That's deflection. Considering how badly damaged everything is, Professor Harebrand was lucky to escape unscathed, I'd say. We should have a good look around the machine while we can, I think. Touch anything, I'll make sure I'll kill you before I get strung out myself, you hear? I won't touch a thing, I promise. So please, spare that thought for your digestion. Anyway, do you really think this machine could act just humble people like the professor claims? He asked, looking totally incredulous. Give it a rest, sunshine. If I were allowed to examine all this bleeding scrap metal, maybe we could answer that question. But we can't, can we? Because of the annoying rules, you mean? Exactly, the annoying, obstructive, flaming rules. Oh, look at the base of the machine there. Oh yes, there's a tool for some kind poking through the wire mesh. It's a screwdriver, I think. Oh, isn't it a lovely one? The handle is in the shape of a capital A. Is it? Oh, you're right. What's the matter with you? Don't touch anything, I said. Touching anything, I'll make sure I'll kill you before I get stronger myself, I said. Yes, I understand. Sorry, I only touched a teeny weeny bit. But Gracie, I'm very curious about this screwdriver. Really very, very, very curious. Of course, your ladyship, you're so clever, your ladyship. Fancy spotting something like this. But I'm afraid I can't let you have it. But Bruno find it first. I assure you, I'll investigate it thoroughly. He's gone off with it. That was very mean, I'm afraid. Inspector Gretchen is going to make a very clumsy and embarrassing mistake in the next month's installment now. Oh no! Poor Grexy. Raja. There are all sorts of strange buildings here in the Great Exhibition Grounds, aren't there? I seem to remember something similar being exhibited in Japan one time. Oh, in your country, Rudo? I do wish I could go and see it. I present a particularly steely stammer with the present of one of Hurley's stories I've written, especially, and to see if I can get Hurley into a jam against some Barkitsu master ninjas. You might not find as many as those sorts of people around as you think. Oh, well, that's dull. Oh, but I do know for a prosecutor with a Chon Mage top knot I can introduce you to. A Chon Mage? Really? You think I could have my picture taken with him, do you? Assuming he's recovered from the trim Kazuma gave him a year ago. Yes. Oh, he doesn't know. It's gone, bro. Oh, it's up. Look up. That amazing horn-shaped device is pointing towards the Crystal Tower. I suppose once people are just somewhat of a machine, we shot out of that thing wherever they're going. I don't think it was supposed to shoot anything, Runo. It was set up to beam people to the Crystal Tower, where they'd be reconstructed in their original form. Well, I don't like the look of it. If it was as amazing as it looks, then the accident wouldn't have happened in the first place, of course. I suppose that's true, yes. But nothing ever goes according to plan, does it? So those are people carrying balloons, dangling silently in the skies over London. I always thought the day would come when humans would discover how to fly, but I never imagined it would involve them being suspended from the colorful floating Temari handballs. I'm sure it must feel amazing being up there among the clouds. Let's take a ride together, Runo, please. If I'm being perfectly honest, I would like to try it, but without a cast iron guarantee that a thing won't plummet to the ground, I'm too scared. Oh well, in that case, I should tell you what Hurley said. It's physically impossible for a flying balloon to plummet to the ground, as long as it doesn't explode. Yes, call me crazy, but I think that exploding part might play on my mind a little. What is that gigantic thing over there? It looks like an enormous water wheel. Oh, that's a Ferris wheel. There'll be people riding inside those little cabins, you see? You can see? Why? Well, they rotate nice and slowly, so it's a wonderful way to see the surrounding scenery. Wait, it's turning, but it looks completely still. Yes, that's because it's turning so slowly. One complete revolution takes about half an hour. If you were mad enough to go in one, I would be more fun to whiz around fast, don't you think? Well, you die. Well, I feel as though you might have just invented a new sort of ride there, Bruno. Okay, well, I can't seem to investigate anything else, so... Oh, man. Okay, so no, I can't. Wait, how do I? Wait, how do I leave? Do I have to go to the thing and then? Yeah. That's where the cove ended up after his instant kinesis, or whatever they call it, dead of course. And yet they're calling it the experiment a success. What's the wooden scaffolding there for? The coppers, our lads, said that after the incident happened. to get the body down, I think. I don't know, really. Don't know, really. Did you help erect the scaffold then? Nah, lookout duty is more my thing. Wandering around the exhibition and keeping a lookout for the fun stuff. Mind Gregson doesn't hear you saying that, or he'll give you the boot. It's incredible though, isn't it? I mean, could the victim really have bridged the gap by some sort of invisible kinesis? Okay, there we go. Bruno, listen. What is it? I've been thinking. Charlie might know something, mightn't he? About what? About Mr. Reaper? About what happened to Lord Van Zieks, you mean? Because it sounds like something very significant occurred after he graduated from university. Something that completely changed his life. Maybe, but I have no idea where to find Mr. Soames at the moment. He's in the middle of some big case, isn't he? Well, what makes you... Do you not think maybe this is the case he's... Here, this is what you need. What's this? Some kind of entrance ticket? Madam Tuspells, is this supposed to mean something to me? You don't know it? It's the most popular attraction in London at the moment. It's very close to Baker Street, actually. We could go now if you'd like. No. We don't have time for visiting attractions today, Iris. We have a big trial tomorrow. No. But that's where Hurley is. What? At this popular London attraction? Yes. How is it that you know where he is? Hurley told me, but he told me to keep it a secret from you, Bruno. Madam Tuspells. I don't see how it can be related to the case we're investigating here, but then stranger things have happened. You made it stranger things. Oh, and when they happen, Mr. Soames is usually at the part of them. Oh, so I guess we're going to this place. This is where Hurley is. I'd love to know what he's up to. What is you? Waxwork exhibits. Madame Tuspells Museum of Waxworks. What is this place? Look at all these terrifying scenes, but why are they all the people so still? Guillotines, ruthless murderers. I know what I'll be dreaming about tonight. They're all wax models. They're amazingly realistic, aren't they? What do you think, Bruno? Shocked? Wax models? Ah! I read about the dead bodies in wax once in a magazine about strange phenomena. Depending on how corpses are kept after death, but parts of them can turn wax, apparently. It's called adipocere. Wait, is that real? Wait, hold on. Adipocere. Adipocere. A grayish wax substance formed by the decomposition of substitution in dead bodies subjected to moisture. Corpse wax. Nope. It's true. Okay. Adipocere. Stop talking about creepy things like that, Bruno. You're scaring me. Anyway, adipocere doesn't form readily, you know? It's only in very specific... Ah! What now? I've just remembered something else I read. In another magazine about strange phenomena. There was an old lady, maybe a witch, who used to pour molten wax over corpses and put them on display. None of the exhibits in here are real. They're all entirely man-made replicas. They can't be. You really expect me to believe that? Just look at them. Oh. There's no way anybody can make models of people that are this realistic. And well, then what are you doing? What is he doing there, man? And they're also gruesome scenes. Huh? Wait. That one looks... What is it? Oh, no. I must be seeing things. Wait, why is there a hand? Is this an arm? It looks like an arm, doesn't it? Maybe one of the waxwork bottles has fallen over. You don't think it could be the work of one of the mass murderers in here, do you? Bruno, stop scaring me. Is it a waxed arm or a real arm? Come on, you're always pointing that finger of yours and put that arm in now and see how it feels. Objection. That big heavy curtain is a very prominent position, isn't it? I have a nasty feeling there's going to be something truly terrifying behind it. Oh yes, that's the famous Tuspel special exhibit. It depicts one of England's most notorious killers. Do you want to pay extra fee and have a look? Jack the Ripper. That's what it is. Pay more money to be even more terrified. Ooh, let me think about that for a moment. No, it was only a suggestion. Hey, don't be mean to Iris. These models are so well made. I can't tell what's waxer, what's a real human. Or maybe all the exhibits are real people. And when it's closing time and all the visitors have gone home, they suddenly start moving about. Just thinking about it makes me wish there was closing time already and I was on my way home. This is a real person. Nothing particular of note. Is this some infinite murderer? Yes, called Jane the Ripper. All our victims were young women. I knew it. You can tell by the way she's holding that knife. Sure sign of a murderer. Well, yes. Ah! What's the matter, Bruno? I've worked it out. I know what she's doing. She's trying to fill that bathtub with blood so she can have a soak in her victim's gore. Not according to the information about the exhibit on the little board here. It doesn't mention anything about the bathtub. Really? Sorry, I don't think it's as significant. I still think it has to be there for a reason. Jane the Ripper, not Jack. But wait, what is this? Ugh. Is this an example of Western Sujigiri? Wait, what is? Yeah, wait, hold on, Sujigiri. Oh, this I do. Okay, no, I do know this. So basically, when it's it's basically when a samurai gets a new katana, or they're trying out a new fighting style. They sometimes will just go around at night and attack a random person. Yeah, the people who do that are called Sujigiri. Okay, what I love is doesn't constantly kind of spirit. It's kind of hair to feel that. That's it. I feel like this is the thing. Okay. That's crazy. That is a crazy thing to do. You know, when an unscrupulous samurai randomly attacks a passerby to test his sword? I still don't know. No. But actually, a waxwork samurai will probably be hugely popular. Could you model it? Do you think, Bruno? You mean that Sujigiri thing you mentioned? Well, I do have a sword, but I have no intention of testing how sharp it is on a human subject. For now, at least. Okay, and now come on, man. It's a great detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes has his own wax statue in here? Really? Well, he is world famous after all. It's an uncanny resemblance, isn't it? It makes my skin crawl to look at it. I know. But look, Bruno, you can kick this Hurley and he doesn't move a muscle. You can't go wrong. You can't go around kicking that. Oh, that hurt. You can't go around the exhibit, Iris. Wait. it just moved, I'm sure. And that's just a little bit either. Huh? He really? Blink, did it? And look closely. He's blinking. There are beads of sweat on the face of this waxwork model. Jump scare. Shall we move on, Iris? Over there, look. There's a great murder scene to enjoy. Much more appealing.
Hold it!
Hold it. My dear fellow, I take your extraordinary in such a manner as if you see something truly as if you see something truly abhorrent. Mr. Sholmes? I knew it. Iris, what possessed you? I strictly forbid you from divulging my temporary waxwork secret to Mr. Naruhodo. Temporary waxwork? What do you mean? And that kick, could you not have exercised a little more restraint? You winded me. Bruno has something he needs to ask you. A question. And I thought you'd probably be getting bored too. So that's his job? He's working at a thing as a display? Well, I can't deny that your time was impeccable. A mere 2 minutes more being stationary like that, and my great brain, upon which all success has been built, would have turned to wax. Thank goodness we arrived in time. Indeed, in many ways, the pair of you just saved the world from an unimaginable loss. Oh, Hurley, you do like to talk nonsense, don't you? You could know something, it's true, about Lord Van Zieks and what happened in the past to change him. Now that you're here, let's take our time. How can I be of assistance? For you're in luck. I'm suddenly quite taken with the idea of conversing. Oh, well, actually, I'm in quite a hurry. And if my eyes don't deceive me, I believe something is afoot within the walls of this very museum. The most fascinating case, if I'm not mistaken. Uh-oh. Really? Moreover, I have a strong suspicion that it's related to the matter about which you've come to me now. But how could it be? We shall speak again presently, my dear fellow. But for now, I must return to my work. What? Back to being a temporary waxwork exhibit? What is this place? What is this place? Madame Tespels came to London from France 3 years ago, I understand. Since he opened his little waxwork museum last year, it's enjoyed great popularity in London. There are museums like this in Japan too, but these places are something else. I mean, they aren't made of from actual real people, are they? Extreme realism of these waxwork models is a particular secret of the Tespels family, they say. They earned renown during the French Revolution for waxwork as victims of the guillotine. Ugh, that sounds grim. The gruesome scenes which were portrayed with such realism in the expression of the faces of the condemned. Apparently, the sculptors would make the models directly from the corpses, right there at the site of the execution. That really turns my stomach. That's just one of several legends about the Tespels family. Whether there's any truth in it, I couldn't say. But anyway, this museum houses models of famous people from all over the globe. Nevertheless, the most popular area of the museum by quite some margin is this House of Horrors. House of Horrors? Of course, visitors' numbers are dwindling now as a result of the Great Exhibition, but people usually flock here to see the exhibits of some of the most vile criminals at their gruesome work. Naturally, most of the miscreants portrayed here were sent to the gallows, so they're even stiffer now than the models of them. Have you heard of poor taste? My dear fellow, the public live for poor taste. They yearn to be shocked. So the hideous exhibits in here they're all portrayals of real events that actually took place. Is it just me, or did the temperature in this year just seem to drop? Anyway, I'd advise you not to think too deeply about what you see here. Oh, he's back to being a waxwork, you see? What do you mean by a temporary waxwork, Mr. Sholmes? Exactly what you say, what you see. And I'm part of the exhibits here, catching these criminals in the act. Catching them. Every half hour, I'm home on a different killer, in one of these displays and adopt a new pose to ensnare them. When members of the public come for a closer look, I offer them my hand to shake. For a shilling, I happily allow them to take a photograph with us. Us? Does he mean him and the waxwork murderers in here? But why, Mr. Sholmes? My dear fellow, isn't it obvious? For the money, I'm poor. He really roared at me there. Very fitting for the House of the Horrors. As it stands, I may struggle to pay this month's rent, and I have the ravenous iris to consider. Oh, Hurley, I'm so hungry. I'm so hungry. Oh no, husband. We have no money. Oh, I'm so hungry. If push comes to shove, I shall have to ask you to do your bit, Mr. Naruhodo. What? What's he starting to rope me into now? So, with that in mind, how about a photograph? As a special treat, you may have your pick of the murderers and scoundrels in here. The choice is yours. Maybe some other time. Remember, Mr. Naruhodo? Ignore me at your peril. Back to being a waxwork again. Is it just me, or did his final remark there sound like a lot like a curse? Well, what is it you'd like to ask me then? Actually, it's about Lord Van Zieks, our friend Mr. Reaper. How did you find him? Well, I trust. Yeah, this is gonna be. And so I filled in Mr. Sholmes in about everything I learned. About Lord Van Zieks, about Professor Harrybrain, about the strange coincidence that they had been at this university together. But I'm pretty sure he's the same age too. No, yeah, he would be 1 year their senior. He's 1 year older than them. But he might have been around. Oh, we have the profile on this guy. Masked man. Unassailable man. So I'm wondering what it was that happened to make Lord Van Zieks such a different person. I was sure that you'd know, Hurley. He does know, but he's not going to tell us. Sorry, I can't tell you. You said there was something going on here in this exhibit hall before, that something was afoot, and that you believed it was related to what I wanted to ask you about. Mr. Sholmes? He suddenly climbed up. Sorry. Well, it seems we reached the unavoidable greetings. Oh, Tutspell? Oh, hello? Where did she appear from? And what's she wearing? Could she look any more mysterious? The witch. Ooh, hello! I hope you are appreciating my museum. Sorry? Have we... Mr. Sholmes, do you know that... Not again. My apologies. I am Esmeralda Tutspell. This is my house of music. This is my museum of waxwork. What? You're the Madame Tutspell? Bien sûr. Though only 26 years young, I might add. Is that significant somehow? I'm a madam in name only. It adds a certain je ne sais quoi. Right. Firstly, I must apologize for my waxworks, or rather, one waxwork in particular. That'll be Mr. Sholmes then. It was led to believe that he was a great detective, but he seems unable to settle. Next time you move from your designated exhibit, there will be toil and trouble. Oh my gosh, yo, he's gonna he sounds deadly serious. That's a problem. That's a problem. How am I supposed to ask Mr. Sholmes about Lord Van Zieks now? But let's not forget what Hurley said before about something being afoot. Right here in the museum, I mean. Yes, I know, but I'm so curious. I want to know what's happening here. Haven't we got enough on our plates already? Bien sûr. Did you make all these waxworks, Madame Tutspell? I did. I am the third generation of waxwork artisans, you know? Gosh. It was my grandmother who began the tradition in my family. Our fortunes were checkered, living through the turbulent times of the French Revolution as she did. Yeah. So that is when she acquired the savoir-faire that leads to the astonishing lifelikeliness. All these whack words really do look as though they're alive. Savoir-faire. In fact, they look more alive than Hurley. Yeah, my guess is that's the trick, is that no, these are all people. Well, some of them are people, like these two over here are people. What you see exhibited here represents the most atrocious of London's criminal past. All the waxworkers were created in the presence of the real people on which they are modeled in the hours they immediately following their execution. That is the secret to the extraordinary lifelikeness. That sounds terrifying. All walks of life have similar challenges, I'm sure. To carry out one's trade par excellence, one must go to extraordinary lengths. My exhibits are a reflection of society. I create only that which the public wishes to see. Ugh. Why couldn't the public have wished for something less horrifying? Do not fear. Sorry? This room is the only one in the museum with such a macabre theme. I hope you'll explore. There are models of famous singers, actors, politicians. Something for every taste, I hope. It was Iris who dragged me straight in here, come to think of it. Sorry, perhaps I should have eased you into things. What's the situation with that? Ah, my temporary waxwork model. He approached me some days ago, you see, with a business proposal. Oh? What sort of proposal? My dear madam, what these spare sparses need is the addition of a world-famous great detective. Or words to that effect. Naturally. Well aware that Mr. Solmes is widely known as in London as a talented detective. It's great detective, actually. He's very specific about it. Yes, the creme de la creme. So I was keen to come to some arrangement with him. Of course. But sadly, we were unable to agree terms. Let me guess. Someone wanted to charge an exorbitant price for his services. For a mere £500, I will dive into your cauldron of wax. In this very moment, dude, you can't. I'll £500. I'll jump into the cauldron. Dude, you will die. Or words to that effect. Mr. Solmes might have overdone it slightly with the sales pitch. Regrettably, the museum has a shortage of funds at the moment due to unforeseen circumstances. So we came to the current arrangement instead. Surely he doesn't really need to do what he's doing, though, does he? I would think not, but he was very insistent. I have a 50 shilling problem that must be resolved by the morning. Or words to that effect. 50 shilling is the pawnbroker, if that's what it is. He must have something to redeem. Is the consulting detective work not going so well? Oh, I wonder. Could I ask you something? Bien sûr. Just hold on. Wait. It's gonna bug me. Bien sûr, of course. Okay. Bien sûr is of course. I'm just curious. Is there anything going on in the museum at the moment? Some kind of incident, perhaps? Uh-oh. Whoever suggested such a thing to you. Oh, well, it was your temporary waxwork over there who mentioned it to me a little. Oh, he's disappeared. A wax model is a work of art, not some tawdry object for trade. Ah, that's her. There you are. Leaving the exhibit again when you should be working. Do you wish to be melted down? My dear Madam Tusfellas, save your reprimands. There are more pressing concerns. The wax can wait. If it's our ideas about your current problem we must throw into the melting pot instead. Huh? Personally, they would advise you not to involve the police. Why ever not? She's turned as white as she. Oh! I already know what it is. She probably lost. There was a wax model of the guy. There's probably a wax model of the guy who died, and she probably had one, and now and she realized it's missing, and she didn't. And he's telling her, don't report the missing thing to the police because you have at your disposal a great detective whose services you may employ for a mere 50. Yeah, basically that's what he's saying. Don't tell them, tell me. I'll 50 shillings. So please be aware that I prefer no. I insist upon payment in advance. Very well. Let us see if the great detective is able to live up to his name, shall we? Before I engage in my analytical process, I must ask you to clarify something. What, pray, is behind... Oh, I think it's Strongheart behind the curtain. That is the Tusfellas special exhibit. There is an extra charge to see it. Ah, the special exhibit in the House of Horrors. You must depict the special killer then, I presume? Would you be so kind as to draw back the curtain, I wonder? Ah, absolutely no. There's nothing amiss behind there. Nothing amiss, madam. What about the arm protruding ominously from under the curtain? Ah. I strongly encourage you to allow me to see what lies beyond before the situation worsens. Yes, very well. I will draw back the curtains, but only a soupcon? Soupcon? Oh, hold on. Oh, okay, only a little, only a little. We'll see. Soupcon. Soupcon? I must confess, I peeked behind the curtains earlier. Tusfellas' special exhibit is a very bleak graveyard scene indeed. And yet, somehow, surprisingly, the waxwork killer, as one would expect, is nowhere to be seen. What does strike one, however, is the arm. Oh! There's a portly gentleman lying peacefully on his back on the floor. Oh, he's sleeping. It's the juror from like the case number 1. Well, then. Well, then perhaps Mr. Sholmes, the man on the floor, is the ruthless killer himself. I'm afraid not, my dear fellow. He's a perfectly ordinary London gentleman, not even waxwork in fact. What? As skillfully made as these waxwork are, they are always distinguishable from real humans. So, allow me to present my 2 conclusions. The first, we haven't had the deductions yet, actually, is that a sizable business transaction has been taking place in the special exhibit. Why? Why would you say that? And the second is that the aforementioned transaction is linked to a serious crime. Ah! He looks as pale as candle wax. I don't understand. So, Madam Tusfellas, as you've agreed to my fee, you shall now have the pleasure of seeing the famously great detective and temporary exhibit at work. The game is afoot. Waxwork's fate. To begin with, we must ask ourselves what exactly is afoot here in the museum. The answer is revealed by the bundle of banknotes protruding so helpfully from your bag. In my estimation, some 200 pounds. Whoa, that is all my own money. So what does this large sum of money reveal? Oh, Ah, not as much as the involuntary glance you cast, it would seem, Miss Madame Tussauds. See, Madame Tussauds. I know I said Miss Madame. Yes, the answer lies where your eyes now fall. Significance of the 200 pounds is revealed at public notice. Wrong. Waxwork for sale. Your business has hit hard times, it would seem. In short, you sold the infamous killer, the centerpiece of your special exhibit, for the sum of 200 pounds. No, no. Now, that's for the next curiosity which we are presented. Who is the portly gentleman stretched out so peacefully on the floor? It would appear the man has suffered a severe shock. The cause of which is clearly known to you. Ah. Unfortunately, madam, keeping secrets does not appear to be your forte. What dealt the man such a shocking blow was, of course, the 200 pounds. It would appear that you twisted this gentleman around your little finger most effectively. What are you suggesting? He rashly agreed to purchase the waxwork for a sum of 200 pounds. Only when he came to hand the money, however, did it occur to him that what an extortionate amount he was paying. But if the money was no longer in his hand. And then the result, the scene we see before us, he collapsed in shock. Yes, the killer is a special exhibit exhibit fetched the killer price. We can only pray that the gentleman's dreams are not plagued with regrets. They know the price killed him. They're like, no, my money, my 200 pounds. Waxwork location. The question that arises then is what has become of the waxwork that changed hands. Let us consider the problem for a moment. You cannot possibly. What immediately strikes me about this conundrum is this young man standing over there. Who is this fellow? To find out answer, we need only observe his neckerchief, as such as warning is about policemen as a secret sign to fellow members of the force that a crime is being perpetrated. Yes, this young man is an undercover policeman, currently investigating this museum. I know him well. In fact, it's Sergeant John Clay. What are you talking about? The man's quite a celebrity. He received triple accolades at last year's policing awards. But next, we turn our attention to the old man as we sat before him with a particularly unsettling visage. I've been watching closely, and he hasn't moved a muscle, almost, in fact, as if he were a waxwork. Ah, but your reaction only confirms my suspicion, madam. I noticed it at once, of course. Observe. Telltale sign that instantly proves whether or not this old man is a waxwork is his obvious price tag. Threepence, a tragically low price, you might say. Perhaps the going rate for aging waxworks riddled with cracks. And yet you sold it to the portly gentleman for an exorbitant 200 pounds. Sort of plucky behavior that is sure to attract the attention of Scotland Yard. Isn't that so, madam? I do not. Yes, the waxwork you sold has already been seized by the police, and it remains in their custody as we speak. Nope, sorry, nope. Yeah, old man, I'm sorry, I'm clicking out of the window because I don't have it full screened. The old man must be reunited with his grave in the special exhibit, and not a moment too soon. What? That didn't seem right. Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this horrifying puzzle. Yeah, everyone's like, yeah, it's like, you. I see I stunned you all into silence. You have, Hurley, you have. And you've obviously upset this young lady in the process. Her cauldron looks awfully hot. If I could just bring up one point, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, there's notorious Naruhodo 1 point. I'm all ears, my dear fellow. According to your deductions, then, the special exhibit features this old policeman. So that would mean he's the particularly ruthless murderer, wouldn't it? The killer policeman, Audible. Sorry? There was a mysterious series of murders that rattled the capital only last year. The police rushed to the scene every time, only to find the culprit had disappeared into the aether. And it turned out the culprit was a policeman himself, a senior officer by the name of Audible. You mean that's who the sinister-looking old man in there is supposed to be? Indeed, it is a particularly grim face, is it not? Unforgettable. In fact, yes, I remember the odious countenance only too well. But is it 200 pounds a lot of money for a wax model? It would be enough to afford one of the latest steam carriages, if that puts things in perspective. So, it's quite a lot then. Is there anything else you wish to add? Before I melt you down. That bubbling wax is looking more and more ominous. Ugh. The smell of all that molten wax is starting to worry me. Mr. Stone did more or less just accuse her to her face, so I think I might have to call on your assistance here, Iris, if that's all right, to make some minor corrections to the great deductions. Of course, it's all right. We'll soon set things straight. Well, let's get started then, shall we? Before Madame Tussaud vents her anger. This is what I was waiting to hear, my dear fellow. So, Madame Tussaud, in accordance with our agreement, you shall now have the pleasure of seeing this famously great detective and tipper exhibit at work. Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. To begin with, we must ask ourselves what exactly is afoot here in this museum. Their answer is revealed by the bundle of banknotes protruding so helpfully from your bag. In my estimation, some 200 pounds. That is all my own. That is all my own money. So what does this large sum of money reveal? Not as much as the involuntary glance you cast at. It would seem, Miss Madame Tussaud. Yes, the answer lies where your eyes now fall. The significance of the 200 pounds is revealed by that public notice. That's wrong. She definitely looked in this direction. If it's true, it's true. I'm not sure she's selling your waxwork even for 200 pounds. Oh? She must pour her heart and soul into making them, don't you think? Over and above the wax. If it were me, I wouldn't have sold it for anything. For that much money, I would. But it sounds like that makes me a bad person. Well, anyway. I wonder if the 200 pounds could have some other significance. Let's follow that furtive glance again and see if there's anything else that could explain it. Okay, so... What's the note doing pinned on the wall there? Oh yes, let's see. Dear Madame Tussaud, we've taken the prisoner from this room. The price for his safe return is 200 pounds. Have the money ready by noon on the 23rd of October. What? So no, they kidnap one of her pieces of works. What? This is a ransom. It's just like when someone is kidnapped. Yes, it's a ransom note. Exactly. Like that.
Take that!
Ransom note. So someone stole one of her pieces of work. So I was right. The significance of the 200 pounds is revealed by that ransom note. Right, so, and we must congratulate these criminals on their inventiveness abducting a waxwork. £200 is no small ransom fee, yet you clearly intend to pay. Which shows that she cares about. Hold on. Wait. Okay. The model is in question has special importance. So I put together all the money I have. Oh, that's all the money she has left. In summary, then, the 200 pounds you have in your handbag is a ransom money. Now, that's for the curiosity with which we are presented. The lips of the portly gentleman stretched out so peacefully on the floor. Wait, is it? Okay, it does. Okay. It would appear that the man has suffered a severe shock, the cause of which is clearly known to you. Ah. Unfortunately, madam, keeping secrets does not appear to be your forte. What dealt the man such a shocking blow was, of course, the 200 pounds. No. So, if the waxwork was kidnapped, where does that leave us in terms of who this man is? We could just ask him when he comes around. I think the point of the exercise is to understand the beauty of the deduction process, Iris. Yes, you're right. Hurley's trying so hard, we mustn't let him down. Well, there's little doubt that he suffered a shock. That much seems clear. But in that case, what's Madame Spell's trying to hide? Let's have a closer look around. It's... Ah. Oh, that's not her hand. What is that? That's not her. I thought that was her hand. This is just Madame Spell's right hand, isn't it? Yes, it must be. I can clearly see her left hand after all. Oh, but wait a minute. This is that's a left hand. This is a left hand as well. Look. Don't say such creepy things, Iris, please. And it seems very stiff too. In fact, it's really hard. You mean it's made of wax?
Take that!
What dealt the man such a shocking blow was, of course, the waxwork hand. Indeed, with a solid waxwork limb, one could deliver a very substantial blow. How could you? The hand protruding from the bottom of your cape. It ought to be a right hand, but closer inspection reveals, in fact, it's a left hand. Ah! And somewhat masculine as well. Yeah. In other words, it does not belong to you, madam. It is the hand of a waxwork model. Yeah! Some of the visitors to my museum can be troublesome. They meddle with the exhibits and cause damage. So you mean that arm? Yes, this gentleman saw it fit to try to remove it as a souvenir. No small keepsake. Dude, you can't be you can't be doing that, man. Like taking a whole branch of a cherry tree when you go to view the blossoms. Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. Branch of a cherry is Sakura. I am afraid I had to teach the man a lesson. Yeah, understandable. You confronted the man and tried to take the arm back. As a result, the scene we see before us, he was knocked unconscious. At a point we may need to revisit later, but for the time being, we have our conclusions. Yes, the killer in this special exhibit has been kidnapped. Yeah, the waxwork was, but who was it of? The question that arises then is what has become of the waxwork that changed hands? Let us consider the problem for a moment. You cannot possibly. What immediately strikes me about this conundrum is the young man standing over there. Who is this fellow? To find the answer, we need only observe his neckerchief. According to Mr. Sholmes, the yellow neckerchief is a sign to other police that some crime is underway. a way of communicating with his colleagues without revealing his identity. Yes, it's a secret that closely guarded by Scotland Yard. That's Mr. Sholmes didn't hesitate to give away, mind you. Well, uncovering secrets is any true detective's nature, of course. Right. Anyway, judging from the Madam Spell's reactions to Mr. Sholmes' deductions, I think perhaps we might not have identified the man quite correctly. It's not him. Ah. What the? The man has a stubble sticking out of his shoulder where his limb should be. Their arm should be. Well, that settles that then. Right. This isn't a real person at all. His entire arm's been ripped off from the shoulder down. His arm's been, of course, that ties with what we just found out.
Take that!
Who is this fellow? To find the answer, we need only observe his shoulder stub. No such boneless human walks this earth, or of that, yeah, I can assure you. In other words, the man standing here, the young Sergeant John Clay, is in fact defying all odds a waxwork model. I seem to remember it was you who concluded he was a real person in the first place, Mr. Sholmes. He has become quite a celebrity in London, being the winner of no less than 3 policing awards last year. They simply had to make a model of the man. Naturally, what other explanation could there be? And it was this detective's arm that was pulled off by the man on the floor in the special exhibit, wasn't it? So she just hit him in there. Next, we've turned our attention to the old man sat before him with a particularly unsightly visage. I've been watching closely, and he hasn't moved a muscle, almost in fact, as if he were a waxwork. Ah, but your reaction only confirms any of my suspicions, madam. I noticed it at once, of course. Observe. The telltale sign that instantly proved whether or not this old man was a waxwork is the obvious price tag. No. A killer policeman called Ottermole. Was he well known? It was all over the papers last year, but I can't say I know what he looks like. It's a very low price though. The reference isn't much money. Only enough for a few measly hours of gas and Mr. Gerdev's lodges of fact. But how much is it? Wait, what is... Hold on, how much is this? Weapons. No. Separate British coin. Okay, so 3 pence piece was 1/80th of £1 or 1/4 of a shilling. Okay, wait, how much is a shilling? £1/20th of a pound or 12 pence. Yeah, it's okay, that's 1/80th of a pound. So 80 of the 83 pence is, or 80, or I guess, weapons, company. Where's one thing? Okay, so yeah, it's basically, it's weapons to 3 pence. So 80 pence is a pound, and 1 or, okay. So this is the special killer taken from the special exhibit, is it? The waxwork that somebody stole from the museum and tried to ransom for 200 pounds. Is this cursed old killer policeman Ottermole? Really? Perhaps we should have a good look around again and see if another idea crops up. Yeah, he's not. Look at this. The old man's tapping his foot like crazy. He seems to be fast asleep though. He's not tapping his foot consciously then. So you mean it must be a twitch? Never mind that. The point is the waxwork don't tap their feet or twitch. And look at his arm too. We've seen a scrap like this somewhere else around here, haven't we? I don't believe it. It's a secret sign that other detectives know some criminal activity is underway. Yes, it's a slightly strange choice of outfit he was trying to go unnoticed. Ah, he must be a detective in disguise as a policeman. Right? Or a detective disguised as a waxwork model for other policemen. He doesn't look like he's clever enough to think of something like that. Perhaps you should try to be a little more polite about him, Iris. Yeah, Twitch. Because we're trying to prove that he's not a waxman. That the telltale sign that instantly proves whether or not this old man is a waxwork is the obvious twitch. Even the most realistic waxworks do not exhibit a twitch. In other words, the splendid old man is in fact a genuine member of Scotland Yard. Slight shift in your choice of adjectives then. And there you have it. Well, Madam Tuspels? Well, what? It was me who contacted the police and demanded that someone come in the first place. He is clearly fatigued. He is sound asleep. But then, what's this tag I was showing a price of 3 pence? No doubt the price tag of a muffler, which is the old Bobby purchased recently at a local market. As I presume you observed a scarf tied around his arm. Does that not strike you, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, secret sign used by detectives to show that some criminal activity is currently underway. Of course, because, as you know, there has been just such criminal activity happening here, as you deduced from the very beginning, Detective. So, it would seem that we finally arrive at the truth. The waxworker, especially ruthless killer for the separate has been kidnapped. And Scotland Yard are already investigating. But the murderer's whereabouts remain a mystery. Thus concludes Herlock Show's great deduction of the horrifying puzzle. Okay. Still a mystery. Deduction complete. Elementary. Okay. All sorts of people visit my museum here. Men and women, young and old. Sometimes they drop in just for a short time on their way out back from the pub. I welcome them all. But if anyone tries to damage my exhibits, I do not take it lightly. Yeah, because you put your soul into them, so they're like your babies. Anyway. Pretty. The great deduction was even more enchanting than I had been led to believe. It was a pleasure, my dear madam. I'm gratified that you enjoyed the spectacle. And as for you, your rough customer, I know that we're going to punch this shortly and return home. What concerns me more is the waxwork from the special display, if it was indeed genuinely abducted. Yes, tragically, it was. Then I wonder what asked you to recount to us the events surrounding the stolen art waxwork in as much detail as possible, if you please. Very well. But after I have told you what I know, I must insist that you return to your work. Of course. The talents of a great detective could be put to better use, I feel, but as you wish. Tell us more about the stolen waxwork, please. It was some days ago now, when I came in here one morning. I immediately noticed that what a waxwork was missing from the special exhibit here. It is your most prominent display, so that's why the curtains were closed. And I found the ransom note in its place. The culprit must have broken in during the night and taken it then. So this waxwork that was stolen, it was a model of some horrible criminal, I suppose. Of a particularly horrible criminal, in fact. The killer who left a more profound scar on society than any other, I would say. The Professor. The Professor? Not a name I've heard of. So, Mr. Naruhodo, it seems the circle is complete. It's related. It's related to Van Zieks. Sorry? The Professor case happened at around the time I was born, didn't it? Indeed it did, Iris. 10 years ago. So when he was 24, a series of murder that rocked the capital. 10 years ago? Yes, at exactly the time that Barrack Van Zieks graduated from university, in fact. What? Surely he's not saying. So the great big event that changed Mr. Reaper's life. As you surmise, it was the professor case. Who was this professor then? It was a series of gruesome murders that had all the London gripped in terror a decade ago. After 5 victims were killed, the man was arrested and put to death. And now he's immortalized here in wax for all Londoners to admire and enjoy. Though, of course, he happens to be absent at the present on account of the abduction. But I don't understand. How is it all this related to Lord Van Zieks? You must first understand, my dear fellow, why is it that the professor earned such infamy? It was due to the victims he chose, some of Whitehall's finest. What do you mean, Hurley? Oh, it's probably going to be that he had a brother or something, brother or sister that was a victim. Those murdered by the professor were some of the highest members of the British aristocracy, members of the nobility, even royalty, sent shockwaves through the country's administration, members of the wait, of course. What Professor Harebrain said, Lord Van Zieks were from a family with noble blood. Oh gosh. It was the first victory that led to the professor's arrest. The last of the killer's prey was a young noble by the name of Van Zieks. Van Zieks. Clint Van Zieks, yeah. His brother. Clint Van Zieks. No! I don't believe it. Van Zieks? His brother. Probably his older brother. I'm sure you can piece together the rest of it for yourself. In the wake of his older brother's murder, the young Brerick pursued a career as a prosecutor. Yeah. He wouldn't let him get away. And eventually became the Reaper we know today. Damn, that's tough. I had no idea Lord Van Zieks had such a tragic past. Well, I'm afraid that's all I can say on the matter, for the time being at least. After all, I have work to do. As a waxwork exhibit. I'm afraid I shall have to excuse myself as well. Oh yes, of course. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. Well, we didn't really investigate, so... Well, none of the predicted scenarios I've been analyzing involve you coming to visit me here. Oh, he's seeing him. It's been too long. It really has. I'm delighted to see you, Barock. It's been 10 years, and here we are, meeting in a prison of all places. I can't forgive myself what happened to Mr. Asmund. I just can't. I still can't believe it could happen. Tomorrow, the court will decide. Yes. I have a young Eastern man acting for my defense. He seems to be reliable enough, though. It was an accident, a terrible accident. He assures me he can prove it. For sure sake, I hope he can. I must warn you. Oh, I know. I've heard already. You're going to be prosecuting, aren't you? Yes. Since I returned to England, I've heard lots of stories. Sarah, are you really? What? Never mind. I know that you have my best interest at heart. My friend is on trial. I wouldn't entrust it to anybody else. Of course, I fully understand. Thank you, Barock. Until tomorrow, then. I'll see you in court. Oh, wait, did he basically say that he entrusted him to us? He said, I think he said one of my best friends, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he said I wouldn't leave it to anybody. Did it reset? I wonder. Oh no, my friend is on trial, not best friend. He's just my friend is on trial. I wouldn't entrust it to anybody else. Of course, I fully understand. Yeah. Okay. I can't believe it's been 6 months since I was last here allowed to work in a court. And now here I am, back at the Old Bailey. Ah, but Mr. Naruhodo. Good morning, Professor Hairbrain. I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. The atmospheric pressure in here is off the charts. I never felt anything like it. It's crushing me. I feel every time I'm here, that gravity. Well, this is Britain's highest court. But are you telling me it's fitted with some kind of device that can actually control air pressure? I think it's probably all in the mind. Ah, yes, well, you won't let me down, will you, Mr. Naruhodo? I'm counting on you in today's trial to save my life. Save the secret of my super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine from being made public. Yes, I understand. I know what I have to do. I had to establish that the explosion 2 days ago was nothing more than an unfortunate accident. Well, I'm sure there's nothing to worry about, really. Justice will prevail. My commiserations, Mr. Naruhodo. You appear to have been lumbered with the most tiresome case here. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, I didn't expect to see you here. That was very mean, Runo, leaving me alone at home with Hurley. It took me at least an hour to wake him. Are you Sherlock Sholmes? Indeed, sir, I am he. Sherlock Sholmes. Oh, I've heard all about your exploits, even whilst living in Germany. Ah, yes, Rance magazine is on sale in Germany, too. This month's assault was sublime. Your deduction in the adventures of Silver Blaze was wonderful. Ah, yes, a memorable case indeed. As concerned a snake, I seem to recall. No, that was the speckled band. Bringing up the Cosmo case again. Yeah. Well, thank you for coming. I do appreciate your support. I'm sorry to disappoint you, my dear fellow, but I'm afraid I can't stay. Oh, I have urgent business at Madame Tuspel's. You mean your waxwork job? No, the waxwork reduction, of course. Madame has engaged my services. Ah, so you're trying to get to the bottom of that ransom note, are you? A week's wages depend on it, as does the safe return of the waxwork, actually. As such, I intend to give it my undivided attention. Oh, well, never mind then. I understand. Of course, with my skills of observation and reasoning, resolving the matter which will be easy as proverbial pie. I shall return forthwith. For until I solve the case, I shall have no money to afford a pie of any description. Oh, then you must absolutely give your full attention, Hurley. Quite, Iris, quite. But life is riddled with irony, you know? Whenever I give something up my full attention, I have a quite insatiable desire for a pie. One of the universe's intractable mysteries, you might say. Oh yes, quite, definitely, absolutely. I totally understand. Is someone a little starstruck? I wish you the very best of luck, Professor Hairbrain. Why, thank you. Before I depart, Mr. Naruhodo, a word in your ear, if you please. What's this about? As you have remarkably little grounding in science, I feel I ought to inform you. As compelling as this super high voltage instantaneous kinesis hypothesis may be, a practical implementation such as was intended by a professor at the Great Ace is quite impossible. Yeah. Even though this is the same world of spirit mediums and stuff, which should be going on, but we haven't seen it, of course. But yeah, teleportation is not possible. It's quite impossible. So then what? So the explanation of the question is, then what happened? But Professor's determination was a success. Yes, it would appear that he fervently believes it was. Because I've read Professor Bunnybrain's papers about it too, Bruno, and I have to say, it's jargon. I'm sure it can't be done. It could barely be done theoretically, let alone practically. So he's completely barking up the wrong tree. But how could an experiment that had no possibility of succeeding in fact succeed? That's contradictory. No, and it's that contradiction that will be at the heart of the trial. I have no doubt. What's that supposed to mean? To waste? No, it means. Come on, Bruno. It means that we didn't get teleported, so something else happened. Now I must hurry along. I wish you the best of luck, my dear fellow. See you later, Hurley. Ta-ta. Well, it looks like you're on your own today, Bruno. But chin up, you can do it. Oh, what about you, Iris? Ah, no, I'm afraid I can't help. I have something I need to do. I see. Aw, no, what the heck? We're gonna be alone. It's going to be a big surprise for you when you find out what it is. That sounds ominous. Counsel for defense and defendant. The court is about to be in session. Make your way into the courtroom at once. We're on our way. This is the first solo case. An experiment that the laws of science say can't possibly succeed. And the scientists who convinced that it did. That's the riddle you have to unlock here. Right, Ryunosuke? That's the key to this case. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. We are sitting today for the public trial of Professor Albert Harebrain. Now I call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is ready. The defense is ready, my lord. I'm 6 months out in practice, and what's more, I'm without Suzato-san today. No! What? Oh, no. Oh, brother. I'm without Suzato-san today. Is it just my imagination, or does the air in here feel even more oppressive than usual? So, I must say I recollect the victim of this case all too well, Mr. Odi Asman. Mr. Asman was well known as a financier, though that was merely a front for his diverse criminal activities. It was only a month ago that the man appeared in court prosecuted by you, Lord Van Zieks, but in the jury unanimously found him not guilty. Because every member of the jury had been bribed by the sound of it, these powerful London criminals are prepared to go to extreme lengths to keep their freedom. But 2 days ago, on the 21st of October, Mr. Asman met his end. The work of the Reaper, was it? Believe what you want to believe. If that was how your lordship would describe it, grab divine retribution, so be it. But the fact remains that Mr. Asman's death was a direct result of the actions of the accused Professor Harebrain. Very well then. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you have been selected at random to represent the will of the people. Are the six of you ready to fulfill your societal duty? I'm most gratified to have been selected to carry out this important civic duty, my lord. Right, new people, holy, to have a man's fate in the palm of one's hand. Oh gosh, oh golly, it sends shivers down my spine. Magician science experience, magic conjuring tricks, courtroom trials, all are nothing more than performances. Any suspicious call that defies the reputation of science deserves to hang. We have to listen to what's said on both sides of the fence, and then settle on one. That's it, isn't it? Oh, that's the guy that was in the thing. Wait, what is he doing here? Wasn't like this in my day. Wasn't like this at all. That's the police killer Otter Mole looked like. Again. And he's as exhausted as ever, it seems. Now, as I'm sure you're all aware, The instance where we are here to judge today tragically took place at the Great Exhibition shortly after its opening. Though the death of toll could have been far worse, with the exception of the victim, no one was killed. Nevertheless, the dream of the signs being exhibited rapidly turned to a nightmare for the spectators, a tragic turn of events, and as such, the eyes of all London, no, of the whole world will be on this trial. It is our duty to reach a swift and just conclusion, I feel. So, your opening statements, please, Lord Van Zieks. At the heart of this incident, it's technology never before demonstrated anywhere else in the world. One of science's latest developments, I take it. The government is keen to capitalize on the Great Exhibition to improve Britain's technological advantage. The technology being demonstrated by the accused was described as super high voltage instantaneous kinesis. Good lord. It's designed to disassemble human subjects using extremely high voltage electricity and beam them instantly to another location where they are subsequently reassembled. Is such a thing even within the realms of possibility? Well, I don't believe it is. That's for sure. Disassembling people with electricity. My goodness, how shocking. Ha! The whole idea is absurd. The hypothesis would never stand up to scrutiny. Sir, I believe you are a fellow of the Royal Society, are you not? An expert in your field. I am, and my word on the matter can be considered final. Instantaneous kinesis is poppycock. So this expert and Mr. Soames are in agreement. It's impossible. What is the prosecution's view of the matter? The prosecution would assert that the accused's instantaneous kinesis demonstration was a success. What? What a rot. Order. The professor hypothesis is currently under investigation by the British government. If it's deemed to have been merit, a substantial research grant will be made available. The accused made a use of the invention built on his new hypothesis to take Mr. Aspen's life in order to be the sole benefactor of the grant. But this disastrous demonstration was no accident. It was carefully designed from the outset to end the life of the victim. Thank you, Lord Van Zieks. The prosecution's stance is clear. But you will now bring forth witnesses to substantiate your claims. Gladly, my lord. Let's get started. Woo! Bailiff, show the first witnesses to the stand. It's gonna be Gina and someone else. Oh. Gregson. Witnesses, state your name and occupations for the report. Wait, but this is the defendant. Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector, Scotland Yard's Homicide Division. I was on duty at the demonstration on the day in question and in charge of the following investigation. Albert Harebrain, the scientist. You were born in England, but have been carrying out research in Germany in recent years, correct? Yes, that's right. After graduating from university here in Britain, I went to work in Germany and made an amazing discovery, which is what brought me back. I had to demonstrate my incredible hypothesis at the Great Exhibition. What you demonstrated was incredible, all right? An incredible explosion. But the science was a success. The instantaneous kinesis worked. Everyone saw it. They must have done. Yes, there was a terrible accident, but the demonstration of my hypothesis was a success. Well, that much is undeniable, as shown in this photograph taken by forensic investigation team. This was taken inside the Crystal Tower, I take it, the centerpiece of the exhibition, no less. That's right, my lord. Teens the victim rammed straight into it. I see. Very well. Submit the photograph as evidence. As the court heard, the victim of the incident was Mr. Odie Asman. There have been a number of allegations made against the man, but putting them aside for the time being, He was the man who financed the research for the experiment and the demonstration itself. I see. So to summarize the situation, the defendant is accused of taking the life of a man who funded his work. Would that be correct? Exactly. Exactly, your lordship, but it couldn't be. That the explosion was caused by some malfunction of the apparatus used for the demonstration? That's right. That must be it. My splendid machine. My poor, splendid machine. You saw it yesterday, didn't you? We can't even examine the records that thanks to the Special Suspension for Scientific Equipment Act. What? The wreckage? The wreckage? But that being the case, how can the facts be established? How can it possibly be determined whether this was an accident or deliberate and malicious act? Extremely simply, my lord. I beg your pardon? Isn't that right, witness? What? Sorry, me? No, your neighbor. Yes, sir, it was murder, plain and simple. Anyone can state that with complete certainty. What? How can he possibly think that? Thank you, Inspector. I think we had better proceed to formal testimony. You will explain to the court on what grounds you claim the experiment to have been a front for murder. This is going to be a press everything, because there's no way. We don't have any information because we weren't able to investigate. A front for murder. The corpse that went crashing through the crystal tower had a broken neck. I made a minor miscalculation in the angle of the beam projection. That's all. That was my mistake. But the post-mortem exam revealed another injury, a fatal wound. There was a lesion to his chest where he clearly had been stabbed by something sharp right in the heart. The victim was killed before he went anywhere, and this fellow's the only one who could have done it. So basically, before he got teleported, he was already dead. Before he got teleported, he was dead already. An extraordinary businessman. In addition to suffering a broken neck, the victim was stabbed in the heart. Information I really would have liked to have heard from someone other than the judge. The coroner says death would have been all but instant from a wound like that. You could say, in fact, that the victim was killed twice by the accused. No, that couldn't be further from the truth. I have here the experiment plan, the document that was submitted to the security team. The victim stood himself in something called the birdcage and ready to be beamed instantly to the second level of the crystal tower, about 25 yards away. The experiment did not go according to plan. However, as we all know, as the machine was put into operation, there was a large explosion. Hold on. Large explosion, you say? The blast caused the beam to transmit at a point higher than intended. Accordingly, the kinesis resulted in the birdcage materializing in midair, and from where it subsequently fell, crashing through the glass of the crystal tower's large round window. My word, one assumes the victim's neck was broken upon impact with the tower. Then I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for this to happen. The machine was just too powerful. But honestly, really, I swear, it was just an accident, a terrible accident. Unfortunately, that excuse can't save you. No, not considering the sharp murder weapon that pierced the victim's heart. But murder weapon? What are you saying? This is the autopsy report submitted by the coroner. The prosecution would like it entered into the court record. Your request is granted, counsel. I was there in person, you know? I saw the whole ludicrous performance. Awesome, yeah. 220. Hemorrhage from the wounds which hit the accused heart. cause of that. It just okay. Well, seemingly I can't see anything that's bizarre. Yeah, that's nothing. Nothing screams out to me as something as bizarre in this photo. Yeah, I was, and the only other person on the stage with Mr. Ashman was it's a disgraceful excuse for a scientist. Then really, by all accounts, it must have been him. Hmm. Hard to think of hard to think otherwise, really. Very well, counsel for the defense. Proceed with the cross-examination, please. Oh, yes, my lord. I need to focus here. It's been a while. Yep. Locking, locking, locking.
Hold it!
Are you suggesting that's because he fell from a considerable height? Exactly. There's highlights something else about this whole rum business. This whole rum business. What's that? What's that? Hold on, I moved my mic. The fact that the instantaneous kinesis itself was a success. Ah. After the explosion, the cage with the fella inside suddenly appeared out of nowhere in midair. Although the experiment ended in disaster, the so-called instantaneous kinesis did actually occur. Remind us, Professor. Drop from a hot air balloon. What was the cause of the fatal disaster? I made a minor miscalculation in the angle of the beam projection. That's all. That was my mistake.
Hold it!
So the angle of projection is critical, is it? And you calculated it yourself personally. Absolutely. The calculation is far too complicated for anyone but me to carry out. Only you got it wrong, didn't you? Yes, that's right. That's the point. The calculation is so complicated, even I can make a mistake. Do people fall for that brazen confidence? I should try it. I took into account the sense of height and weight, and wind direction, and the ambient temperature. I considered every possible variable, so I just don't understand how this could have happened. Obviously, then, you had to include the weight of the clothes Mr. Aston was wearing at the time, I suppose. Ah! Crackling comments. That answer should have been 3. So much for safety first. The 3 must be for safety third. But the post-mortem examination revealed another injury, a fatal wound.
Hold it!
Another fatal injury, you say? That doesn't make any sense. You didn't think I had to spell it out, but here we go. Just because there were 2 fatal wounds doesn't mean I'm saying the victim had 2 lives to lose, does it? Two right. Obviously, at first, you thought the bloke had died due to his spine snapping in half as well. But you're saying that's not the case? You'll get your answers once I finish my fish and chips, if you don't keep buttoning every few seconds. But we all know that's a bottomless bag. The victim plummeted 30 feet into a glass tower. It would be reasonable to assume that as the cause of death. Right. That's what we all thought. But it was a red herring, wasn't it? There was a lesion in the chest where he'd been clearly shot by something sharp right in the heart. The defense knew nothing of this crucial information. The prosecution received this report from the forensic investigation team only this morning. That was the first time we knew of it as well. I can only apologize for the possibility of informing the defense. Sarcastic and insincere. Thanks. So, what was the nature of this sharp object? Among the accused tools that were in use at the and their demonstration. One is of a particular interest. This. Ah, yes, that would appear to be some kind of screwdriver, wouldn't it? Ah! There. There he is. My trusty little companion, Andrew. Andrew. Oh, of course. Ah, do you know each other already? He's one of my dear friends, like all my tools. I've named them all, you know? They were one big happy family. Huh. Andrew is my flat-headed screwdriver, of course. His brother Michael is a crosshead. Well, it appears that your beloved Andrew has a red stain on his shank. Ah, that isn't. It's blood, beyond all reasonable doubt. No, and that's not all. The long, sharp shape of Andrew's fellow is completely consistent with the victim's wound. Ah, what? Order. The court will enter this friend of the defendant as evidence. Oh, let's look at that shovel. This is blood. Mr. Asmund, no doubt. This is the problem with looking at murder weapons. I've seen this unusually shaped handle before. It's the same screwdriver that was lodged in the grill on the floor of the kinesis machine, which can be important information, so I should definitely make a note of it. Oh, does it come out? It looks like it does. Okay, that's a... Ah, there's some sort of lever here. Oh, what is this? It looks like a cross between a bow and a gun. I think it's probably used for the same thing too. Crossbow, yeah. So I was right, it was a crossbow. The groove here must be where the arrows are loaded, I suppose. So I was right. It's sort of a bow with an automatic firing mechanism. It would be perfect for someone like me who catches the ear with a bowstring 2 out of 3 times. In fact, if I had one of these, maybe I could have beaten Cosmo in Kyoto archery training. Ooh, that much hurt catching your ear with a bowstring. Is because how they draw bows in Japan is they bring the bow right to like the right side of their face, or basically depending on what dominant hand you are, and then they just draw a string to like gets to the side of your face too. So I think it's easy for it to catch your ear if you don't release it straight. Okay, a yumi, or bow in Japanese. Bow in Japan, bow in Japanese are called yumi. Okay, well. Great. So the victim was killed before he went anywhere. And the victim's the only one who could have done it. So let's press this. What grounds do you have for saying that? Ha! You really need to ask. There were only 2 people on that public experimentation stage in front of the whole crowd. The victim, Mr. Odie Asmund, and the accused, Professor Harebrain. And we know for certain that before the experiment, the victim was alive. That's right, I saw him with my own eyes. Furthermore, following the explosion of kinesis, nobody went anywhere near the body. In other words, only someone else on stage with the victim could possibly have...
Scott! Excuse me!
Hold on, you have something... Professor Harebrain, do you have some information that may be relevant here? Professor. Ah. Oh. Oh, hold on 1 sec. Okay, I'm back. Ah, sorry. I was just calculating the optimum coefficient of electrons to separate molecules in the human body. And the witness starting then is the best place for that? It seems as though you might have something to say. About Inspector Gregson's last remark. Ah, ha ha ha. Aha! Ah! Yes, that's right. Of course. He just says that nobody else could have done it, didn't he? Yeah, that's right. Who else could have stabbed the victim? I don't know, but there's no way that I could have stabbed Mr. Asman, as you say. Yeah, because if he stabbed him, when would he have the chance to stab him? Explain, please, Professor, because you're gonna say, yeah, they were in full sight of everybody. Of course, this cold-hearted policeman may not be aware, I suppose, but humans are warm-blooded mammals with blood running continuously through their veins. I had heard. Then surely you see, if I plunged something in the size of ant into the man's chest, the whole stage would have been a bloodbath. No, a blood-swimming pool. Ah. But thousands of Londoners were watching me at the time. And yet none of them claims to have seen a swimming pool of blood. Well, no, I suppose not. You see? Not one. True, I didn't see anything like that. Wouldn't did anyone even see him stab the thing? He was... Well done, Professor. That was a great counter argument. Order. Pray forgive the discourtesy if I savor a drop from my hollow chalice to accompany my own friends adducing. Huh? Here's to you, Albert. Oh, you're too kind, Baroque, but I'm really not a patch on you. No, you're not. No? You've neglected to mention one crucial possibility. I have. A particular situation in which very little bleeding would result from a stab wound. Ah, of course. Inspector, enlighten the court, please. Yes, sir. Where are they going with this? Very well. You will amend your formal testimony now, Inspector Gregson. Oh, you're gonna say it was stuck in him. The weapon the victim was stabbed with must have been left in his body whilst he was beamed through the air. Oh, no! So that's all the testimony I have to work with. I had no idea the victim had been stabbed. That changes everything. Did Van Zieks keep that to himself until now on purpose to gain the advantage? Or, oh well, I suppose all I can do is press these witnesses for as much new information as possible. Sorry. No, but even at the thing, we didn't see it. It wasn't in there.
Objection.
Nope, that's not true. You say that while the weapon remains in the body, there's very little bleeding. Is that unequivocal? Look, there was no blood on the experimentation stage. Oh, this is actually relevant to the first case, where Zizado was like, "Hey, you should take out the knife, right?" And everyone's like, "No, if someone gets impaled or stabbed, you should not take out the thing they were stabbed with." Look, there was no blood on the experimentation stage, even though that's where the fellow was stabbed. The only explanation for that is if the screwdriver was still in his body, stopping any heavy bleeding. It's common medical knowledge, my learned friend, even on your side of the world. Yes, but about the screwdriver. The thing is, we actually saw it at the scene ourselves on the experimentation stage. What? It was on the floor by the wreckage of the machine, poking through the metal grill. I went to pick it up, but the detective here stopped me. Isn't that right, Inspector Gregson? Ah, well, now that you come to mention it, yes. Inspector, are we to understand that you permitted the defense counsel to investigate? That you contravened the Special Definition for Scientific Equipment Act? Eh? No, not at all. I wouldn't do that. I just let him look, nothing more. It was very clear that he wasn't to touch a thing. Yes, that's true. This screwdriver was in plain sight on the stage. But it shouldn't have been. Should it? What? What are you getting at? If this tool had been still in the victim's body when the victim was beamed away by the machine, then it shouldn't have been still on the stage. It shouldn't have been on the stage still. That's right. It should have been beamed across the Crystal Tower along with Mr. Aspen. And been found still lodged in the victim's chest. Order. How do you explain this, Inspector? Well, I don't. It looks as though everything that the victim has had on the person moved with him when he was beamed. If the screwdriver was still in his chest when the instantaneous kinesis occurred. Obviously, that should have been beamed to the destination as well. This is a strange situation. Even though people are saying that this is instantaneous kinesis is a scientific impossibility, we're still basing our arguments on the assumption that it did actually take place. All right, time to tighten the screws here. My lord, if the prosecution is unable to explain this inconsistency in its arguments, you can only conclude that the testimony given by the court cannot be relied upon. Lord Van Zix is stumped. Yeah, I knew it. He's gonna say, "Oh yeah, the screwdriver made a material that wouldn't get teleported." So, do you have something to say, witness? Yes, I knew it. It bears out. The equations hold. Mr. Naruhodo, don't worry. About what? Without delving into the details, there is no inconsistency. What? Even if Andrew had been lodged in Mr. Asman's chest, my trusty tool wouldn't have moved. Andrew remaining on stage is consistent with my calculations. Oh, brother. What? What? Yeah, you're gonna say it's some made out of material that wouldn't get transported. What the devil are you talking about? It would seem your illusions have been shattered. Clearly, we should hear the accused's explanation. Or should I say, this brilliant scientist's explanation? Just when I found an inconsistency in the prosecution's argument. Ugh, come on. Scientists. Very well, the defendant will testify again. Provide us with the scientific explanation as to why the inconsistency asserted by defense fails to hold. In the name of Apollo, I will, my lord. Hey, he's not going to be born for like another 130 years. Inconsistency explained. To be clear, I'm still at the stage of gathering data in my research. My hypothesis states the kinesis cannot transport metal low, hence the metal weapon would have stayed put. In other words, the point just raised by Mr. Hardo isn't an inconsistency at all. Mr. Asman was a patron of my research. Without him, my work wouldn't have been possible. Now I have a duty to protect the incredible machine that we built together. Oh, brother. You know that just self-incriminates you, right? So the trust of your testimony, Professor, is that based upon his hypothesis, metal objects cannot be moved by this method of instantaneous kinesis. Oh, but wait, there's something that doesn't make sense that's on there. Hold on, let me see. If metal can't be moved, then these glasses should not have. His glasses should not have been transported either, but they're still on his face. Because surely the frame is some sort of metal. So no, so something's not right here. In other words, since their screwdriver is made of metal, even if the remain lodged in the victim's chest, its subsequent discovery on the stage, despite the victim being found somewhere elsewhere, is not an inconsistency, and therefore, Professor Albert Harebrain could still have been the killer. My great hypothesis holds. You see, we had to make the cage used to contain the substance from wood for that very reason. I was not addressing you, witness. Professor Harebrain. Yes? Whose side are you on here? I don't take sides, Mr. Naruhodo. No. My only interest lies in upholding my hypothesis. I'm a scientist after all. Is he working for us or against us? It's very hard to tell. Let's see how you cross-examine this testimony, my Nipponese friend. Yes, fire away, Mr. Naruhodo. Okay, so it's all the metal. So how did the glasses get there? The inconsistency, explain. To be clear, I'm still at the stage of gathering data in my research. My hypothesis states that kinesis cannot transfer metal, so hence the metal weapons would stay put. Okay, well, no, I'm gonna try and jump the shark. I'm gonna try and beat it. Let me just see. Yeah, that's not true.
Objection.
Okay, there we go. Okay, we didn't have to even waste time. Professor Harebrain, you say that according to your hypothesis, nothing made of metal can be beamed by instantaneous kinesis using that machine you made. Is that right? Yes, that's right. Spot on. Exactly correct. Then in that case, I'd ask you to have a look at this photograph that was taken at the scene. In particular, I'd like you to pay attention to the victim's face. What are those? You can clearly see that Mr. Aspen is wearing a pair of spectacles with a metal rim. What? Metal? No. Metal can't... That's not... metal? No! We've already established that the proposed mirror weapon, the screwdriver, was found on the stage. However, if your hypothesis correctly predicted that outcome, it should have also predicted that the metal rim spectacles would be found in the same place. Ah! My hypothesis! Professor Harebrain, this isn't easy for me to say, but your hypothesis is clearly flawed. Ah! Uh-oh, he was wrong. So, yeah, so that doesn't add up. Order! Counsel, what is the implication of this? If, on the day in question, the alleged instantaneous kinesis never actually took place, then it's entirely possible that the victim was killed somewhere other than on the stage. And in that case, someone other than the defendant could have been the culprit. But my hypothesis is sound. I proved it that day. The experiment was a success. The experiment was full proof of all my work. If I could say something here in my capacity as a fellow of the Royal Society. Yes, juror number 4. Go ahead. As a man of science, there's one thing I simply cannot abide. And that's a fraud who pretends to be a fellow man of science. What? Wait, Scott, are you suggesting my science is suspect? It has just been disproved, hasn't it? In front of all of us. In other words, the whole demonstration was a complete nonsense from start to finish. Believe me, my fellow jurors, when I tell you that this man is a heel, a bounder, and a fraud. I say the records of the machine should be stripped down and thoroughly examined. No, never. That machine is the answer to my entire hypothesis. It's protected by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. What the devil is that black act all about, eh? Who made us the daft rule? I don't like the way this seems to be going, but the best way for me to help the professor. Raise an objection.
Objection.
Professor Harebrain has yet to perfect his invention. That would seem to be the case, yes. But even so, what? Going to such trouble to expense to create a fake machine to display in public. He would have absolutely no reason to do such a thing.
Objection.
He had an obvious reason to do exactly that. for the research grant money. Ah, if the government was foolish enough to have deemed the man's ridiculous notion plausible, he and his conspirators would have received a handsome sum indeed. Conspirators? What would be the value of such a grant? 10 pounds? You're an order of magnitude out, madam. 10,500 pounds a year. Oh, you could have the handsome of that. You could live a handsome amount, not much for years. The society has noticed an increase in bogus public demonstrations in the field of science recently, and plenty of scientists arguing with each other to get the larger slice of the funding cake. People's greed is plenty motive enough for murder, I assure you. No. I haven't deceived anyone, at least of all the governments. My hypothesis is sound. The science is sound. Please, you must believe me.
Objection!
No matter how unbelievable this hypothesis may seem to you, ladies and gentlemen, the fact remains that the victim was transported instantly to the Crystal Tower, which means that the experiment was a success. Baroque. And therefore, the only person who could have possibly committed this murder is the accused. Baroque. Oh. Where is this heading? I have no idea. My lord, if I may. Yes, Lord Van Zieks? The prosecution would like to summon a new witnesses to the stand. New witnesses? New witnesses? What would be the nature of their involvement? They were spectators of the demonstration at the time exhibition who were occupying special seats. Oh, so it's going to be Gina and someone else. Eyewitnesses. Very well. The court grants the prosecution's request. I should very much like to hear from eyewitnesses to the incident. The prosecution stance is clear. The experiment was no it's a sham. Okay, it means sham, but there's okay, so it's used for like for hair extensions, so basically like fake. Okay, but yeah, it means fake. It means sham, or specifically sham, based on dictionary.com. There's no postage. The accused killed the financier victim there on the public stage before the very eyes of the spectators. Now, my learned friend. Oh, yes. It's time for you to make your own stance clear. There's clearly a flaw in the professor's hypothesis. I can definitely see that. But where does that leave me? Okay, we shall take the short recess now, during which time the prosecution will prepare its new witnesses to take the stand. Okay, that was kind of fast. Yeah, as you wish, my lord. We got through those two very quick. And that's good. In that case, court is adjourned for 20 minutes. Yeah, that was actually pretty short now that I think about it. Yeah, we didn't really waste any time with that. Yeah, that was 7:40. Yeah, that only took 8 minutes. About give or take about 8 minutes, because it was, yeah. Okay, no, never mind. No, the trial, because we started the trial. This was the save right here is where we started at 6:59, and then we finished around at 6:49. So it took about, okay, that part took like an hour. Never mind. It wasn't that slow. Oh, Billy's defendant's antechamber. Mr. Naruhodo, what on earth were you playing at just now? Or rather, what on earth were you playing at all along? My amazing hypothesis. You've been picking holes in it from the start. Sorry about that. But you promised me. You said you proved that dreaded explosion was an accident, not murder. You said you keep my precious invention from falling into anyone else's hands. Yeah, that's what I'm doing, stupid. But all you've done is so far is try to undermine me. Yes, I did make your promise. You're right. I said that I believe in you and fight for your freedom to the very end. But I also told you I was no scientist. I don't understand your hypothesis. The fact is, there's an undeniable flaw in your logic, isn't there? Ah, but if I just run through some equations. Yes, you see, it's because our work is incomplete. Perhaps it is, nevertheless. A man died as a consequence, didn't he? Didn't he? Oh. Oh, no. You're right. You're right. You're so right. It's all my fault. And I have no right to blame you for my failures. I'm a disaster, not just as a scientist, but as a human being. Well, that might be a little over the top. And while we're on the subject, what about Barak? He's being awful, claiming his old university friend to be a murderer. You mean? He's a disaster, not just as a prosecutor, but as a human being. Oh, but no, wait. He's the Reaper, isn't he? Perhaps he's not classified as Homo sapiens anymore. Glad that's cleared up. Can I double check something with you? Ah, yes? What? The machine and demonstration you prepared. They were based entirely on your hypothesis, I presume. There was no trickery involved. I drew the plans for the machine with my very own hands. Every line I was painstakingly drawn with a firm belief that science is the only future. So yes, it's true that my hypothesis hasn't reached maturity yet. But please, Mr. Naruhodo, you must believe in it. All right, Professor, I understand. Counsel, defendant. The prosecution witnesses are ready to take the stand. Court is about to be in session again. Make your way into the courtroom, please. Bailiffs? It all hinges on the demonstration. The professor's hypothesis is sound as these claims. It leaves him as the only person who could have possibly have killed the victim. But on the other hand, Mr. Sholmes was adamant. It's impossible. That practical implementation, just as was attempted by the professor at the Great Exhibition, is quite impossible. So really, what should I be trying to prove here? That was sabotaged, I think. John Souls. Okay. Sorry. I was doing something. I was investigating. In the name of the Majesty of the Queen, I hereby reconvene the proceedings of this court. Counsels for the defense and prosecution, are you ready for the new witnesses to testify? The prosecution is ready, my lord. As is the defense, my lord. So, Lord Van Zieks, I believe these next witnesses saw the demonstration on the day in question with their own eyes. Indeed, they did. And as luck would have it, one of them is a police detective. So the testimony we're about to hear can be considered highly reliable. Perfect. A detective of all people. The prosecution's stance remains unchanged. Though it ended in tragedy, the demonstration on the day in question was scientifically sound. And consequently, the sole person who with the opportunity to have committed this act of murder is the only other individual to have been present on the stage at the time, the accused. Hold on, can I? Oh, okay, no, that, no. Is there a way to make it faster? No, I don't think so. No, it doesn't look like it. Reader. Okay. Thank you, counsels. The prosecution's position is clear. So bring forth your witnesses now. Bailiff, show them the witnesses in. The witnesses who proximity to the incident on the day in question will clarify the truth unequivocally. Nope. Witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court to hear. My name is Balthazar Loon. Oh my holy Balthazar. I am the impresario of all hot air balloons in the vicinity of the experimental stage. My name is Wilhelm Gottschalk Sigmund Ormstein. I have come to see the secret exhibition all the way from my home in Bohemia. I'm very rich. Inspector Gina Lestrade, Scotland Yard. I'm a great detective. Even Erlock Sholmes agrees. I was on security detail at the exhibition and got to go up in one of them balloons. It was amazing. Gina, again. But she didn't mention that she'd seen the disaster from up in the balloon, actually, didn't she? And she clearly loved every minute of it. There were 3 balloons flying nearby the public experimentation stage when the incident occurred. 2 of the witnesses were in one such balloon at the time and saw events unfold in the skies above. You make it sound like they were in the clouds. I was only at an altitude of circa 60 feet, very low. Well, you can't see nothing if you fly too high, can you? 60 feet, about 18 meters then. Thank you for your introductions. Now, you will give your formal testimony for the court. Kindly describe exactly what you witnessed, especially those of you who had a vantage point above the stage. This was a press everything. Looks like he hurt his head if a view from 60 feet up. It was an incidente terrible. I'm only grateful that my balloons were not damaged. There's this huge bang from the stage, and then the next second, another bang in the sky beside us. And from amidst the smoke, a cage appeared out of nowhere. The cage, it fell from the sky like a stone and crashed into the crystal tower. They didn't get a good look inside the cage, but no one went near it after it crashed into the tower. A most extraordinary collective account, I must say. Could I just clarify something? There's a detail in the witness's testimony I have not heard any mention of until now. Specifically, that there were 2 explosions? More precisely, 2 explosions in 2 separate places. Yes. When the demonstration began, the balloon carrying the 2 witnesses was around here. There were other balloons in the air nearby at the time, carrying other passengers as well, to be clear. Then, as power was supplied to the machine for the demonstration, the first explosion occurred. The colossal birdcage that contained the victims disappeared from the stage, and a moment later, the second explosion occurred directly adjacent to the balloon carrying the witness. The birdcage appeared at the site of the explosion, subsequently to plummet down into the crystal tower. I was very surprised. Suddenly, a cage appeared before my eyes with a person inside. The blast was so hot, but I didn't want to miss a thing, so I kept my eyes wide. I still have lots of money. I am very rich. Okay. Precisely. Who is this curious infant? I'm told he is a young noble of Bohemian royalty. Apparently, he disguised himself in order to steal unnoticed into the Great Exhibition. Yeah, I'm here in London on sightseeing trip to visit my elementary school. We will have the benefit of a child's point of view in the testimony. Do we really need that? Then I remove my mask. This is what I look like. Ah, yes, I see. A delightful face, I'm sure. Yeah, everybody says so. Great disguise then. The point is, the testimony of these witnesses further substantiates the facts for the court. Namely, despite ending in an explosion, instantaneous kinesis was successfully demonstrated. And furthermore, that until the arrival of the police, no one approached the crystal tower where the victim fell. Therefore, only the accused who was with Mr. Aspen on the stage could possibly have committed the murder. But then wouldn't no one see him on the stage do it because anyone was watching? So that doesn't, is no one gonna bring that up? That's what I would, because that's what I would say is like, okay, did anyone see him stab him on stage? So the defense cross-examination now, please. Yeah. Yes, your lord, my lord. Yes, my lord. Yes, my lord. We need more information, so we're gonna press.
Hold it!
There was 3 balloons flying above this experimentation stage at the time, I understand. See, all 3 of them, my bellissimi bambini. They are very popular, signor. Some people will pay £10 for one ride. £10? That's more than my annual stipend. £20. 20 pounds a month. That is my pocket money. Royals have all the luck. I got up there for free. I did. Paid the old I work for Her Majesty's police card, you know? Detectives here have all the luck. If they're so popular, why would you be operating such a small number of balloons? Because if I have so many in the sky, they could crash into each other. The operators for the balloons were decided by lots, with each operator manning a particular area. See, and the zone above public experimentation stage is the most profitable. The other impresarios, they hate me. Thank you, witness. I think the court has a clear picture of the arrangements for balloon rides exhibition. Perhaps we can hear more about what you actually witnessed of the incident. Right, I can fill you in there, my lord. There's this huge bang from the stage, and the next star and another bang at the sky beside us. No, wait, no, I didn't want.
Hold it!
So you actually saw the accident happen from up in the air? Yep. Isn't it amazing what a detective gets to do, eh? I'm telling you, Odo, being a lawyer is a mug's game. You should join the force and we can go flying together. You know me so well. Yes, well, anyway, could you tell us exactly what you saw, do you think? Everything. We saw everything. Of course, we were up above it all. That dodgy cove climbed into that cage, and that dodgy critters are pulling at them levers. Ain't that what happened when there was that massive bang and the cage disappeared? Just like that. You are describing the moment that such a body was decomposed by the electricity, I believe. I didn't know what to make of it. But then there was another bang right in the ear. I looked around and there was a huge great fireball right next to us in the sky. And there was nothing but... Oh.
Excuse me.
What, you have something to say, child? Or Master Thoughts? Does your memory of the day differ? My teacher at elementary school said that when you meet someone for the first time, you should always use their full name. Ah, yes. What was it again? Wilhelm Gostrich Sigismund Ormstein. Just the 4 names then. The point is, do you have something to say? Something to add in response to Detective Gina Lestrade's last remarks, perhaps? Oh wait, get it right, Odo? It's Inspector Lestrade. Yeah. Oh, did I say detective? Yeah, I did say detective. It's Inspector Lestrade. Why does everyone have a problem with how I address them at the moment? That is not what that is not what I saw. Oh, yeah. There was a second explosion and it was right beside our balloon. That is true. It was, but I'm sure, which is what I said in it. 1 minute here, there was nothing, and nothing there, and then the next, a massive explosion. My teacher at elementary school said that even someone else is speaking, if you are rude enough to interrupt, you have these almost awful life imaginable. Are all Bohemians brought up to be so full of joy? Just before the second explosion happened next to our balloon, I clearly witnessed a green balloon flying in the sky. Oh! A green balloon? Eh? You what? I never saw nothing like that. Well, I did. I saw it, and you can't say I didn't. I will complain to the council. I will cry and scream. My testimony is the truth. I am Bohemian Prince. You cannot say it is lie. That is not allowed. Playing the bleeding royalty card, are you? Typical. Says the orphan who likes to remind people that she works for Her Majesty's police. In that case, you young man, I must ask you to amend your testimony in the interest of the cordial nationalism. In the interest of cordial national relations between Great Britain and Bohemia. It was not decided, so it was removed. Okay, well, I gotta press it. A green balloon, you say? Are you sure about that? Of course I am. I am proud Bohemian Prince. All these questions are making me boring. I think you mean bored. Ah, English is very annoying. The language of my countrymen is far superior. Ragazzo, it is very wrong. Ragazzo, it is very wrong to lie. Lie? Flying balloons never explode. For the same reason the planets never explode. It is logical. Please tell me that doesn't mean logical. If you insult me, you insult all of Bohemia. My die. I shall have the army come and shoot all of your stupid balloons out of the sky. All of them. Here you are, Your Highness. If only all international incidents were so easily resolved. Now that peaceful relations have been restored here in the courtroom, perhaps we could return to the testimony. Did you also see the moment that the cage materialized, Mr. Loon? No, I did not see the explosion myself. However, the cage, it fell from the sky like a stone. I don't have, but see, the thing is, I don't have anything to. Oh, okay, we do have something. Yeah, we have that. Okay, I'm gonna say because. Well, this is not really a contradiction, but it's to say, yeah.
Objection.
No, okay, yeah, this is not a contradiction. Yeah, that's okay. That's not a contradiction, it's just that. Yeah, let's just press. Did you see that actually happened? No. In reality, I did not. I saw it after it hit the tower. There was a grand confusion around the stage. I went to see what had happened. I was terrorized by the idea that one of my balloons had crashed. I suppose they are his livelihood. But when I looked up to the sky, all my precious balloons were still there. I saw it though. I saw it slam into the tower. After all, I am a detective now. Then tell us what you saw, Inspector Lestrade. That's what I like to hear. I didn't get a good look inside the cage, but no one went near it after it crashed.
Hold it!
Was it you who gave the order to keep people away? Eh? Use your head, Odo. How could I have been me? I was up in a balloon, weren't I? Right. So cause I weren't available, it was the boss who had to leg it over there. He was getting shoved and kicked all over by the panicking spectators as he tried to steal off the scene. It was a real sight to behold, I can tell you. Amazing. Poor Inspector Gregson. So anyway, I couldn't see the cage that well because of all the smoke. And I didn't really want to see, to be honest. I was scared out of me wits. Keep it together, Inspector. The prosecution really is certain that the demonstration was genuine. But what if it was actually some kind of switch around trick instead? That would mean that the victim was never actually on the stage in the first place. The two explosions that would have thrown everyone into a panic, watching into a panic for sure. I think I need to find out more about what exactly people saw at the time. Okay, so let me examine this. This looks like a layer of thick canvas with a thick rubber lining of sorts. I've never seen anything like it before, but applying Mr. Stone's method, you might deduce it was part of a raincoat worn by someone who was really didn't want to get wet. Meant charring must have occurred while the person was struck by lightning. Or maybe not. So it must be.
Hold it!
There were 3 balloons flying above the experimentation stage at the time, I understand. See, all 3 of them in my balloons. Oh, okay, maybe. Okay, it must be this one then. It's not this, is it?
Objection!
Okay, yes it is. Mr. Loon, in your testimony, you said that all 3 of your balloons you had operating at the time were undamaged. See, that is correct. If they had been caught in the explosions, that would have been terrible. I wonder if you might know what this is. Ah, I think it may be. See, part of a balloon, a burnt piece of the fabric of the envelope. Sorry, the envelope. Pardon. That is a large round part of the balloon which becomes filled with hot air. It is made from very thick fabric lined with rubber. If you do not want it to rip when you are in the sky, just as I thought. This piece of cloth was found near the experimentation stage. In other words, as Master Gotts testified, a green balloon did indeed explode that day. Eh? If all the balloons in the sky above experimentation stage belong to you, Mr. Loon, then your statement they were all undamaged clearly contradicts the evidence. No! If a balloon exploded that day, why didn't the man say so? Maybe everyone on board was killed. Oh no, having just spent 10 whole pounds worth of experience? How awful. Seems to me like those things crash 50% of the time anyway.
Objection!
The instantaneous did occur, but after the explosion on stage, the point of materialization shifted to a location occupied by a balloon, causing the balloon to explode? Yes, eminently plausible. An unfortunate traffic accident, as it were, but it changes nothing about the pertinent fact. Hold it. This I cannot accept. Why not, Mr. Loon? You are suggesting that I am a liar. That person has died in a balloon incident? There is no need to get fired up, Mr. Loon. The victim was the sole fatality that day. That's right, and I prove it. Balthazar Loon is not a liar. There is no such balloon in the sky. It is not possible. You're saying it's impossible? Why? This court has more important matters to discuss than the number of balloons that were operating that day.
Objection!
Well, we can't ignore the fact that nobody appears to have known anything about this other balloon until now. My lord, the defense calls for further testimony from Mr. Loon. I concur. There is clearly more to this truth in here than meets the eye. It is imperative that we clear up the issue of this phantom balloon, I feel. With this, you will give your supplementary testimony about the balloons you were operating at the exposition. Ah, grazie, my lord. It's grazie. Mr. Loon's balloon. As I said, Balthazar's loon is no liar. Every balloon I had in the sky landed safely. All three of my loons were carrying passengers. If they fell to the ground in an explosion, what a catastrophe. But you can't get away from the fact that a burned up bit of blue cloth was found at the scene, can ya? The coppers at the yard reckon it was probably some debris thrown from the explosion at the stage. This stupid ragazzo was mistaken. My balloons have the red and blue zigzag stripes anyway. So your assertion is that the balloon this child saw was not one belonging to you. See, exactement. If he even saw a balloon in the first place, I do not like the sound of it. It's very bad for business. I have a good mind to sue the land of Bohemia. If you attack us, we will fight back. It will be war, all out war. Uh-oh. What happened to all out war? Mr. Loon certainly doesn't appear to be lying, but that doesn't change the fact that their testimony and evidence are contradictory here. If the defense is unable to find a fault with the witnesses' statements, the court must consider them to be the truth. Think long and hard on that, my learned friend. The situation has clearly changed now. I have to get to the bottom of what happened here, no matter what it takes. Counsel, you may now cross-examine the witnesses. Mr. Loon's balloons. As I said, Balthazar. Okay, I'm gonna move. Around the explosion to the catastrophe. So you can't get away from the type of thing. That time for coppers at the yard reckon there was probably some huge kind of explosion.
Hold it!
This one. You mean the color is wrong? Si, senor. I did not have any green balloons in my warehouse. And yet, a piece of green cloth was found at the scene, and it's unmistakably from a balloon. Well, I don't know how that can be. For the sake of argument, let's say that a green balloon did explode above the stage. You couldn't therefore conclude that it happened to be on the day. It happened on the day in question. Why not? There have been recreational balloons flights all over Hyde Park operating from before the Great Exhibition. One could have exploded some earlier date. Unfortunate, as I'm sure you'd agree. You believe it may have been from some earlier balloon accident that predates the exhibition? See, exactement. As the screener says, is not from one of my balloons. Clearly, this little ragazzo from here was mistaken about what he saw.
Excuse me.
Uh-oh. He ain't gonna take that lightly. Is something wrong, Master Gotts? It's Master Wilhelm Gottsreich Sigismund Ormstein. Gottsreich. It was on the tip of my tongue. Sorry. Yeah, something is wrong. I know what I saw. There was a green balloons there. I swear of it. I swear. It's there all over Bohemia. You can speak as much bad language as you like, but it changes nothing. If you do not have evidence, Ragazzo, then I must tell your parents to punish you, eh? Perhaps we'll let the judge decide when it comes to punishment. Evidence? What is this evidence? To give a simple illustration, young man. A photograph, for instance, has some tangible proof that what you claim. Well, why didn't you say so sooner? I have the photograph here. Huh? Good gracious. What? I had not been up in a balloon for a little while, so I was very excited. I took lots and lots of photographs on the crystal tower of the Bohemian exhibit, of the Seats of London, of the Ilzella, the balloon, and the instantaneous kinesis experiment. Did you take a picture of that? Yeah, one picture. Really? You did take one. But all I wanted was a red balloon. I was not interested in boring experiments. Never mind that. Can you show us that photograph? Of course. And then you will see that I am not lying, that I really did see a green balloon. Oh, well, you can't really tell it's green. Oh, well. But he said it was blue and stripes, but there's no stripes on it. Well, I see you're all too shocked to speak. Yes, I think shocked is indeed the word, young man. Ah, perhaps you cannot see that is the green balloon from this photograph, but that is not my fault. It's the fault of the stupid person who made the camera. Ah, that is one very bohemian sounding cry. Oh, well, very well. The court will accept this photograph as evidence. It is not my fault. It's the fault of the person who made the camera. Well, never mind. I'm sure you have plenty of wonderful sepia memories to take home with you. In any case, when exactly did you take that photograph? Well, it was on the day of the big explosion. You don't say. When I pressed the shutters release, there was this very loud bang, and a hot wind rushed over my face. I'm gonna start speaking like this unironically in real life. This photograph was taken a split second before the explosion occurred. Well, if you ask me, this black and white photograph changes nothing. I could not give the flying fig. Whoa! Oh, lovely language you picked up. No, it does matter. As I thought, Mr. Loon's testimony just doesn't quite add up. The young bohemian boy claims to have seen another fourth balloon. Mr. Loon vehemently denies the possibility, and it's hard to imagine the man in charge could be mistaken about the number that were in the air. Still, this inconsistency, it must tell us something. I'm sure. Yeah. But the thing about the drag is a mistake. My balloons have the red blue. Is this red blue? But the picture is not of stripes. You cannot see the stripes in the picture.
Objection.
Oh no! No! Oof. The defense. I jumped the gun. Got to hear it, and you would also have to think again. It's saying I have to examine it. Wait, that's not it? Oh, never mind. I was completely wrong. Okay, let me say I was completely wrong. No more. Oh, hey, look at that. There's something heading towards. Everyone landed safely. Maybe it's this? Maybe it's this one? The balloon landed safely. This picture doesn't show that.
Objection.
Nope, that's not it. Let's see. Maybe it's this. Maybe it's this stage right? We're gonna pay to her. And...
Objection.
Nope. Nope. I think I had to press something. I have to press something. I have to press another statement. Nope. Shh.
Hold it!
You couldn't just have forgotten one, maybe? Signor, I might not notice if I was given 100 lentils and one was missing. But we are talking about 3 enormous balloons. Do you believe I could make a mistake about something so grande and expensive? I took the liberty of having Inspector Gregson check the gentleman's warehouse. I have the report here. It clearly says that the total of 3 balloons. It would appear that no mistake has been made then. Surely Mr. Strahd could have been sent for such a menial task. What? Me? I'll tell you what I told the boss. He saying kids like me can only count up to 2. Obviously that ain't true. But the boss bought it and said he'd have to go in himself in that case. Obviously, yeah, that's obviously not true. I'll see him if those retaining passengers. Okay.
Hold it!
There was a considerable damage to the stage and surrounding area, wasn't there? Yeah. Some of the conversation those who were watching the stream were caught in a blast and injured. Good job the old contraption didn't keel over. I hadn't even considered that. It seems there was a great panic after the incident occurred. Nevertheless, the police shouldn't have missed a torn piece of envelope from a balloon. Inspector Gregson can expect repercussions like me swiping all in fish and chips, eh? The man's sole pleasure. None of this matters. The scrap balloon of envelope means nothing. Niente. This stupid ragazo is mistaken. My balloons have this.
Hold it!
I was surprised to find a piece of fabric still at the scene. Actually, didn't you search the area surrounding the stage for clues? Nah, I'm not into picking stuff off the ground, man. Me. And it always works out way better diving into people's pockets instead. So much for the new career path. Mind you, the boss was on his hands and knees picking up all kinds of rubbish from the floor. Thing is though, the cage went crashing into the crystal tower, didn't it? So that's where most of the investigating was going on. Even so, I would have thought someone from Scotland Yard would have gathered it up as evidence. Or, listen to you. You stumble across a bit of balloon and suddenly you're the best investigator in the world. Pardon? Well, you ain't got a badge, have you? Like this one. I could arrest you with this if I wanted to. I wouldn't put it past her. Come to think of it, there was talk of some scorching on the ground at a meet we had about the investigation. Coppers there working, it was probably some debris thrown from explorers.
Hold it!
Okay, it would be quite a catastrophe if they fell to the ground for any reason, I think. On that note, Mr. Loon, tell me, what is it that keeps these balloons in the sky? Are you an idiota? Sorry? That is like asking, why does a candle burn bright? It burns bright because it burns bright. And a balloon flies because it flies. What else? That must be Italian for I don't know. There are 2 types of flying balloons. Hot air balloons and gas balloons. Hot air balloons work on the principle of hot air being less dense than cold air, whereas gas balloons derive their lift by using a gas that is lighter than air. See, and my balloons are filled with the magic gas, I believe. Hydrogen, lighter than air, but highly explosive. Good lord! I do not permit smoking of the cigarettes in any of my balloons. The magic gas does not like fire. Even a small spark of static electricity could cause the entire balloon to explode. What's the matter with you, Signor? All that comes out of your mouth is explosion. I tell you, my balloons are perfectly safe. They have to be, or I cannot eat. None of my balloons exploded that day, I am completely sure. But if you still say that's what happened, you must show me proof. All right, so Mr. Loon has 3 balloons in this air that day. If none of those were damaged, then what was the one that exploded? Okay, so then this is... There has to be this statement. We had to... He says, show me proof that it exploded. So I guess we're assuming that...
Objection.
Yeah, there you go. It was... I couldn't find the right statement. Unfortunately, the photograph Master Guts took can't tell us the color of the balloon, but it can tell us something else. Something crucially important. What? It shows that the pictured balloon wasn't carrying any passengers. What? My goodness, you're right. But surely all the balloons would have been carrying passengers. There would be no sense in it otherwise. See, they are for pleasure, for seeing the view. My balloons only fly with passengers. Which tells us that the pictured balloon isn't one of them. So when the incident occurred that day, there was a fourth balloon in the skies above the experimentation stage. The mysterious green balloon. I know nothing. Niente. I can only tell you one thing. If the balloon was not carrying passengers, then it was not one of mine.
Objection.
There are legal tradesmen everywhere you care to look. Clearly, one of such entrepreneur decided to capitalize on the opportunity presented by the Great Exhibition and managed to operate balloon flights on Mr. Loon's patch without him realizing. See, that competition is trying to steal my profits. I did not notice because of the experimental that went wrong on the stage. This fourth balloon exploded at the very same moment that Mr. Aspen was beamed from the stage below. Right. So them scraps that fell to the ground after and left them scorch marks. They didn't come from the stage at all. It was bits of the balloon raining down. Because no one was in it, it didn't get no attention. A mysterious fourth balloon carrying no passengers silently floating over the experimentation stage.
Objection.
This photograph shows us nothing more. A stray balloon and carrying no one and operated by some rogue trader. Clearly it has nothing to do with the case. Its relevance does elude me, I must say. The court has seen sufficient evidence and heard ample testimony already. The prosecution calls for this trial to be concluded. Really? Have we really got to the truth yet? No, I can't let this opportunity slip away. The jurors' minds are made up and not in our favor. What else can this photograph tell us? There's nothing else we can learn from it. There's more.
Objection.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, wait. Please don't give up your decisions yet. The photograph from Master Goats may well be hiding one more vital clue. What's that? A vital clue?
Objection.
We're well past the point of mere possibilities. It's time for definitives now. So tell the court. What exactly does this alleged clue in the photograph prove? The cause of the explosion. We can reasonably assume that the pictured balloon was destroyed in the searing heat of the explosion. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was what's not my fault. Evidently, because the bird cage from the kinesis machine materialized in the sky where it had been flying. And the balloon, being filled with flammable hydrogen, instantly explosively ignited.
Objection.
No, that's not what happened. What? It appeared that this photograph requires a closer examination. Counsels for the defense, you will highlight the location of this alleged clue in the photograph for the court. Of course, my lord. If you look closely, it's plain enough to see. And it's what's shown is linked to another piece of evidence we have. In a way, this leads to an unbelievable conclusion. The clue that really suggests the real reason the balloon exploded is this. What is this? It looks like something on...
Take that.
What's that? The timing of this photograph can only be described as miraculous. If you look, you'll notice there's a bright white line that appears to point directly at the balloon. Most likely a ray of light caused by an incident, caused incidentally on the film. I'm afraid I can't see nothing of the sort. If you look with the magnifying glass, my lord, it becomes clear what the nature of this bright line really is. Arrow? But goodness, what is that? Undeniably, some flash of light. Yes. Oh golly. Do you think it might be lightning? But it couldn't have been a finer day. I believe there we may be looking at fire. A bolt of fire heading straight for the balloon, like an arrow. Indeed, even to my aging eyes, it would appear to be a flame of some sort. My word, are you suggesting that this flame struck the hydrogen gas that filled the balloon?
Objection!
That's absurd. The balloon would have been 60 feet above the ground at the time. No flame could possibly have reached such a height. Oh, no, but we do have proof of it. Actually, it's my opinion that a particular piece of evidence found at the scene reveals how that is exactly what happened. It did happen. What evidence? If such evidence exists, counsel, then for goodness sake, present it, man. Which evidence explains this mysterious streak of flame that appears to be headed direct for the balloon? The crossbow.
Take that!
Take that! This was found hidden at the foot of the small ornamental tree near the scene. Good lord, is that a crossbow? An arrow dipped in oil set alight could have been shot from this weapon, sending a flaming arrow straight into the hydrogen-filled balloon. Are you suggesting that crossbow was used to deliberately... Blimey, you're right. That streak of light in the photo looks just like an arrow, doesn't it? Then, in the explosion of the balloon, it was very likely the result of a flaming arrow from this crossbow igniting the hydrogen gas inside it. No! You wound me. We haven't seen that in a while. Oh, you wound me of Runo. Order, counsel. This is extraordinary supposition. If the aim was to cause the balloon to explode, the shooter could have used a gun, of course. However, there's an obvious reason why that would have been out of the question. Crossbows are way quieter than guns. The noise of the discharge, of course. I think that's right. By using a crossbow, the projectile could be fired at the balloon silently. Relatively, that is loud. Well, yeah, someone had a gun. I shot a gun off the exhibition grounds. It would have caused a real panic. But with the big explosion, there was very big panic anyway, no? I don't like this. I I should be pleased that I found a possible new explanation for all this, but something feels wrong.
Objection!
Do you understand the implications of what you're saying, my Nipponese friend? If a flaming arrow did indeed hit the balloon, then obviously it would have exploded. As the birdcage appeared from the cloud of smoke that ensued. What? Wait a minute. What are you really saying here? I don't get it. Was the birdcage beamed up into the sky after all? Or what? My goodness me. Now I understand. That's what that sinking feeling is about. We're gonna break our promise. I think there is a good chance it was a setup that the birdcage was actually concealed inside the balloon all along. What? Did I just hear that correctly, counsel? There's no going back now. The horse has bolted. Let's assume, as I said, that the birdcage was hidden inside the green balloon from the start. On the stage, when the experiment was started, the birdcage instantaneously disappeared in a cloud of smoke. At that moment, the flaming arrow was fired from the ground, causing the green balloon to explode and drawing the attention of spectators to the sky above their heads. From amid the smoke, the hidden birdcage then appeared to fall down and crash into the crystal tower. I think you'll agree it's entirely plausible that what we just described is the real truth behind the miraculous experiment carried out that day. Good grief! Yare does they.
Objection!
This is ludicrous. What you're describing is no science experiment. It's child's play, a contemptible display of stage magic. Both Mr. Sholmes and Iris said that experiment was a scientific impossibility, in which case, this is the only way to explain what happened that day. And in any case, the victim's body was found inside the birdcage in the crystal tower. if the instantaneous didn't take place, how do you explain that? If I may put in a word, as a man of magic myself, such apparent discrepancies can easily be explained by some simple deception. So juror number 3, all that would be needed is a doppelganger, someone who looked very similar to the victim, Mr. Asman, and having the other man appear on stage to front the show as a body double. Yes, of course. So in fact, Mr. Asman must have been inside the birdcage that was concealed inside the balloon right from the start.
Objection!
That balloon would have been filled with hydrogen. Anything hidden inside it would have been scattered to the 4 winds when it exploded. No one would have even remarked this as a risky venture. Not necessarily. The explosive force of the balloon gas would must depend on the mixture ratio. Juror number 4? Flying balloons are rarely filled with pure hydrogen, but a mixture of other gases such as helium as well. Helium on its own doesn't explode, but by controlling the gas mixture ratio, the explosive force can be altered. The mixture ratio. Obviously, the victim's body would have suffered some burns. That would be unavoidable, but not to such an extent to render this whole obscene charade impossible. So everything that happened can be explained, logically and scientifically. The explosion that engulfed the stage at the start of this experiment was no accident. It was all part of an elaborate deception to make it appear that that instantaneous kinesis had occurred. Well, goodness me. And if we accept that this is what happened, it means that the victim, Mr. Aspen, was never present on the public experimentation stage to begin with. In short, he couldn't have been killed by the defendant, who was on stage in full view the entire time. Will be very hard for the prosecution to counter. Lord Van Zix can't credibly maintain that Professor Hairbrain was the suspect now. Yeah, it's Hairbrain. Mr. Naruhodo, I appreciate your efforts. Thank you. Professor? But you can stop now. Just keep your mouth shut, please. Sorry? What's all this about, Mr. Hairbrain? I, Albert Hairbrain, hereby confess that it was me who stabbed Mr. Odie Asman. So he'd rather be found guilty than admit that his hypothesis machine the machine was faked. Yes, it was me, with my faithful friend and partner, Andrew the Screwdriver. What? What are you doing? Order! Defendant, explain this sudden confession.
Objection!
Professor Hairbrain, what are you talking about? It's what I've said all along. I must protect my hypothesis and my precious machine. You stand there and claim it was all a trick, an elaborate prank, but where's your proof? No, you'd have to examine the machine if you wanted to prove it, but then it would be all over. All be over. My beautiful hypothesis would be laid bare. I mean, the indignity of it. It's clear that you drew the plans for the experiment, but you didn't actually build it. It's quite conceivable that you were duped, Professor. If you just let me, I can prove. Barak! Yes? I'll cooperate. I'll do whatever you say. I swear it. So please, ensure that Special Dispositions for Scientific Equipment Act is adhered to and protect my creation. He's like, no, I will do no such thing. Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hollowed chalice at this critical juncture. Here's to my learned Nipponese friend. What? And his upcoming attempt to clarify the defense's position in light of the accused's confession. Do you intend to formally assert that the experiment was nothing more than a conjuring trick? Because the moment you do, the Special Dispositions for Scientific Equipment Act that protects the professor's invention will cease to apply. The prosecution will demand a rigorous examination of the machinery involved in order to establish the truth. However, If you acknowledge that the machine is genuine and instrumental in the victim's murder, any chance of investigation would be crushed, and the confidentiality of the professor hypothesis preserved. Well, counsel, what is the defense's official position on this matter? What Professor Harebrain, my client, actually asked of me was to prove that the explosion on stage was an accident and protect the secrecy of the hypothesis. But there's no way to do that without implying the professor's guilt. Do I protect my client's life by asserting his innocence, or do I uphold my client's purpose by seeing him condemned? Either way, I can't avoid betraying his trust. You've been silent long enough. Isn't talking your trade, my learned friend? Or has all knowledge of English escaped your confused Nipponese mind? Oh, let me save. Mr. Naruhodo, there's no escape here. I have to make a choice, but it's an impossible one. I have to give up on something, but what? Defense asserts that the defendant's instantaneous kinesis machine was in fact Oh, Oh no, I don't know. They both said. But I'm thinking maybe if I do say conjuring trick, it's gonna be like, oh, but no, if that was no, they're gonna see. But that's not how he died. It wasn't the thing. I'm gonna do proper scientific invention. No, I can't say it. My client places faith in me. I can't just let him down. What must I give up on is not the question you have to ask yourself here. Is what can I protect? Hello again. Susato? Hello again, Mr. Naruhodo. It's been far too long. What? Susato-san? But what are you? Hiya! My first Susato takedown in 6 months. The goat has returned. There'll be time to talk later, Mr. Naruhodo. For now, we must concentrate on the task at hand, which is working out not what I want to get of, which is working out not what I want to have to give up on, but what I can protect. Professor Harebrain. Yes? Yesterday you told me that the science is the purest pursuit of the truth. Well, my job is to pursue the truth too. Yes, of course. And personally, I believe that you didn't stab Mr. Aspen. I think you've come to realize something yourself too, haven't you? That your experiment and the machine you built with the victim are questionable. And the truth behind that is that the truth behind that is what we must both pursue now. So, you finally opened your eyes. What? And as for you, Albert, you can't ignore this any longer. Oh, so basically the whole thing is just to get him to admit that it didn't work. Must know that it didn't work. Having heard my learned friend's assertion, don't you have something to say? But Baroque, Lord Van Zieks? Gosh, I never heard him speak that way before. He's gonna say, yeah, I'm a failure. In truth, there is something I remember that's of relevance. What? When the day it happened, just before I began the experiment, I saw a man near the stage. A man holding that crossbow. I beg your pardon? Professor, did the man have any distinguished fixture? What did he look like? Taller than me, and thinner than me, with straight hair, straighter and whiter than mine. Let me see. One less lens than me, a monocle, a rather stylish black monocle. But one thing in particular will help possibly identify the man. You see, I know him very well. It was the investor. After all, he's the engineer who built my invention. What? He built the machine? That's right. Mr. Asman introduced him to me a year ago. Yeah, he did mention the engine, but he's a man by the name of Enoch Drebber. Enoch Drebber? Does his name mean something? Members of the jury seem flustered. Not a name any scientist wishes to hear. That man's an abomination. Not a name any conjurer wishes to hear either. Who on earth is he? I'm afraid this isn't the first tale of his nature that I've heard in scientific circles in connection with that name. There's that talk of other flamboyant experiments that turn out to be nothing but stage trickery in the end. Obviously, the rascal is after the government's research grant money. When magicians are in need of money, I have heard of them resorting to these underhanded tactics. Some acquaintances of mine with experience of such things have mentioned Enoch Drebber's name before. The man is both an engineer and a magician. Yes, we're dealing with an unparalleled confidence trickster here. That's Enoch Drebber for you. So basically, that's what I thought. He got conned. Yeah, he was getting scammed. So it's true then. My invention, my great machine, it was just a grand illusion. Considering what you just heard about Mr. Drebber's character, I'm sorry to say that sounds increasingly likely. Even though no one else believed it, I wanted to believe that machine would function exactly as my hypothesis predicted, which is why you were so opposed to it being investigated, I presume. I knew that if the machine was examined in detail, its construction would give away my hypothesis. Obviously, I didn't want that to happen, but at the same time, I knew that if it was found to be nothing more than a trick, than a work of deception, then everything I've worked towards, all my research, all my dreams, my whole life would be over. I was terrified at the prospect. So you really had no idea then, did you, about the true nature of the machine that was built and the true nature of Mr. Drebber? I never questioned anything. I didn't want to question it. It's entirely possible that Mr. Aspen and Mr. Drebber were working together to use you as a means of fraudulently acquiring the research grant money. When I announced my invention to the crowds on that day, it was the finest moment of my career. I pulled all the levers and turned all the dials in exactly the way Drebber had described. When the smoke suddenly started blowing out, I panicked. I didn't know what was happening. But I really don't know how the whole illusion was made to work. I don't know anything anymore. Let me confirm one final point with you, Professor. Do you now consent to the prosecution submitting the necessary paperwork to release your invention from the protection of afforded by the Special Dispensations for Scientific Experiment Equipment Act? Yes, please go ahead. I'm very sorry. Poor man. It would appear that we shall have to suspend proceedings for the remainder of the day now. Lord Van Zieks, my lord, the court has newly been made aware of another party whose involvement in this matter is critical. Yes, Mr. Drebber, Enoch. To gather information about the man, if possible, I should like him served with a subpoena. As you wish, your excellency. With pleasure, my lord. Now, counsel for the defense. Yes, my lord. When we reconvene, I should be looking for one more thing and one thing alone from you. Evidence that the defendant is innocent of the crime for which he is presently stands accused. I understand. Good. In that case, this court is adjourned until tomorrow morning. Maybe she was the return, but even more, dude. But antechamber. So she must, yeah. So she must have sent that letter, because what did they say? Did they say it was 2 months since we got that letter, or I think she said it was 2 months since you got the letter. So like a month or so after sending the letter, she must have got on the boat to come back. Mr. Naruhodo. Ah, yes. I'm so sorry. I was wrong. You were right. I tricked you. You trusted me. I dragged you into my mess. Oh, how did it ever come to this? I'm so sorry. Did you really have no idea, Professor, about what Mr. Drebber was really up to? I mean, about what he was really constructing? Naturally, that machine was the embodiment of my hypothesis, of all my hopes and dreams. I had complete faith in it. All right, in that case, I won't say any more. Now, sadly, the murdering accusation against you still stands, so we must do as much investigation as we can before the trial resumes tomorrow. Well, thank you for doing so much for me. And now you, what are you doing here? I'm so sorry for arriving late this morning, Mr. Naruhodo. No, I was grateful you were arriving at all. Arriving late? Didn't you receive my postcard? I wanted to let you know when I'd arrive. Postcard? What postcard? I hid it from you, Runo, so it'd be a surprise. Oh, that's what the surprise. Okay. That was the surprise. She said, oh yeah, I'm not gonna be here. She said that at the start of the trial, like, oh, sorry, I'm gonna prepare a surprise for you, so I won't be with you. Well, did it work? Yeah, I'd say it worked. I was surprised, all right, especially when she threw me to the ground. Oh dear, I'm so sorry. I was just so happy to see you again that it sort of just slipped out. Her first action when she sees me is a Susanoo takedown. Maybe we could stick to more traditional displays of emotion in the future. Susie's train was late to London and Victoria into London Victoria this morning, you see? But we made the coachman really whip the horses hard so she didn't miss the whole trial. I was watching from the gallery for a while, but in the end, I'm afraid I couldn't contain myself. Well, I'm glad you didn't. Oh? Having you at my side in court gives me the strength I need to win. So, I'm delighted to see you back in London. Oh, you're too kind, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm delighted to be here. I hope I can continue to be of service to you. Of course, what brought you back. Did Professor Miko Toba not protest? Let's save all that conversation for when we're back at home, shall we? You know, I've made one of my most special blends ever for this special occasion. Oh, Iris, how wonderful. I can't wait. Susato-san was back in London. It's hard to describe how happy that made me feel at the time, but despite my elation, our tale was about to take yet another extraordinary turn. Okay. I think that's a good point to stop. The goat has returned. All is right with the world. We will remain unbothered. Nothing can take us down. We're at peak performance once again. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me. If you like what you saw, consider leaving a like on YouTube, Twitch, And wait, I forgot what I say. Yeah, no, you can't leave a like on Twitch. You can leave a like on the YouTube, but you can follow me on Twitter, Twitch, X, everything app, Blue Sky. For well, I don't really tweet. Well, I don't. Well, maybe I will, but yeah. And hopefully, I'll see you in the next stream. Bye bye. See ya. Bye. Bye.
Twist the moist with blistering. Take it up, step aside and see the world effects as effects think about of the moon. Brainwave made with cycle, got a high to collect, select, show me your best like crystals, blisters, it's all over now. Psycho King, you're looking not anymore, candy cane. Cold free, got a high kick, Mr. Twist the moist with blistering. Take it up, step aside and see the world effects as effects think about of the moon. Morning rays, hands make queens. Get on the way to the nest of the west. Honest, they once had a dream. Bells of society in the shells of the unity. Cornet and spin it, the sound flows. Balls for the home, drive by the power of dreams. That power is yet unknown. Morning rays, hands make queens. Get on the way to the nest of the west. Honest, they once had a dream. Bells of society in the shells of the unity. Cornet and spin it, the sound flows. Balls for the home, drive by the power of dreams. That power is yet unknown.